Units be advised. The Lovercast is imminent. With your host, Soaps Loverman, aka Braden.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm Lauren. I am friends with Braden. I've known you for how many fucking years? I've known you for a
Going on a
while. We
decade.
met in college. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's been so long. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think we met in like spring semester. I
Teen.
think it was 2017. I think
I
it was
think it was
2017.
yeah.
And
Spring semester. Yeah.
yeah, and we met in those two horrible classes we had
Mhm.
back to back.
Yep. They were
And
pretty
we
bad.
kind of trauma bonded during those
Yeah.
classes,
Yeah, we did.
and they were fun. We had a good time, and then we became pretty good friends, and it's been great. So,
Yep.
yeah, and you got me into Robron, so that's your
That is
fault.
true. That is true. I
So,
did. Because I remember I
yeah.
found it on my YouTube recommended and got obsessed with it. And then I figured out you like gay shit, and I was like, well, guess what? I have just the thing for you. And at the time, it was
Exactly.
all it was like 300 clips.
Because it was, I think, I mean, at that moment, I think it was, I mean, 2014 through, because I think we started around the time that 2017 was airing.
Hmm.
So there was 2014, 2015, 2016, and part of
Hmm.
2017 out. And I think we had started around then. And
Yeah.
then we got
And
into
it was
it,
ongoing
and we
at the time,
would
too.
have, yeah, we would have painting nights
Hmm.
and watch it.
I
And that
still
was
have one of the
fun.
paintings we made during that, actually. 90% sure I painted this on one of those nights. Didn't I?
Yes, you
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
remember when you painted that.
Yep, I sure did.
And then I graduated and left you behind.
For a
And then
whole
we
semester.
continued. But then I would come up to, and then when
True.
you moved to Atlanta and I would come and visit Jackie, our other friend,
Yeah.
um, I would come up and see you. We'd do
Hmm.
Robron while she was working, and then we would like go get dinner with her.
Yeah,
And I
that's
remember this
right.
one time I came up to Atlanta and it took me like 40 minutes just to exit
Hmm.
because the president or the vice president was in
Oh
town or
God,
some
yeah.
shit, and I was like, God damn it. And so it took me forever just to like get from the exit to your house, which normally took like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
and
it
it
was
took me
super
like
fast.
45 minutes, and
Yeah.
I was
I do
like,
not miss
I was
living there
pumped.
at all. I don't miss
Yeah.
that at all. Because it was
And
like that every other day.
I think you might have been like napping or something, so I think
Hmm.
it kind of worked out. But I
Yeah.
think I like was calling you and leaving you long voicemails about like how long the traffic was taking because I was
Yep.
so mad.
Yep.
So, and then I think we both kind of fell off when we found out that Robert
Oh
was gonna
yeah.
leave, and
Yeah.
we were both just like, "Fuck this,
Yeah.
bye."
Yeah.
And yeah, and so
Yeah,
yeah.
because Robert joined the show in 2014, and then in 2019, 5 years later, he leaves the show because he went to prison.
Yeah. And I
So-
think Ryan Hawley, the actor, just wanted to leave and do something else.
which
And
he didn't
then
really leave and do much else. So now
yeah,
he's back.
I think he did a few like bit
Hmm.
parts in some shows, and I think he was maybe in like one or two lead roles and like some small things,
Hmm.
but he didn't really do a whole lot. And then yeah,
Yeah.
he's back. So it's really exciting when I saw him because I'm still on Tumblr, and I
Hmm.
think I messaged you and was like, "Hello in 2025,"
Oh, yeah,
because
you
I think
messaged me at like 8 a.m. or something. Because I remember I woke up from work and had like 12 messages from you. And I was like, which it's not abnormal to get messages from you, but like you're not one to send like a bunch. Like you'll send like one or two
unless
good
there's
texts if
something
you have a lot
going
to say.
on, yeah.
Right. And so I was like, what the? I like thought one of our friends was in trouble. Like I didn't know what was going on. And no, it was just like Robron in the year of our Lord 2025. Like,
I was like, I
which
cannot believe this.
it had
Yeah,
been
because
6 years because it
it
ended
was
when I graduated. The year I
yeah,
graduated was
because
when they, yeah.
I think he left in 2019, like
Hmm.
kind of mid or kind of late,
Remember,
maybe. I
because
don't remember.
well,
But
they did the whole around Christmas was the Who Shot Robert the year before, I think, right?
no, that was 20,
When was Who Shot Robert?
2015. think it was 2015.
I don't know.
Because I
That's
think
the
it was
problem.
post. I think it was post. It was post affair because the whole thing, yeah, it was 2015 because what happened, because like I literally just watched this because I also just did a rewatch.
Mhm.
And I didn't go all the way. I stopped somewhere in 2016 because I was
Okay.
like, I don't want to watch all the Rebecca stuff. Though I just was on Tumblr and I still
Mhm.
follow a few people who are like I follow some random people who were I was into because of Robron,
Mhm.
and one of them was a pretty consistent poster, and I would see some stuff from them time to time
Yeah.
from about Emmerdale, and I was like, "Oh wow, lots of random stuff's happening there." And then I think I saw a gift set and I was like, "Hello?" And I was like, "What is this?" I
Yeah,
had
and
no inkling of it. Went and found the clips, watched it immediately, and was
mhm.
like, "Holy shit, Brayden!" So yeah, and now we're back in it.
True.
Against our will, to be
True.
honest. So
True. Well, I think
yeah.
what would help, because all the folks who follow me have heard is the stuff that's happened since he got back. Because I was like, it
Oh yeah.
really is complicated because it's a soap opera, right? And they were together for 6 years, 5 years. Then Ryan Hawley, Robert left the show, and now they're back, and he's there permanently. So like they're really setting up a slow burn right now. Um,
Yeah.
or he said he's here there to stay, So I really permanently. So to give
So should
a
we just go through?
like just an oversight since the beginning, yeah, like just the major plot lines, like the affair versus the marriage, and then the live thing, like this stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
for background though, Aaron I think has been on the show since he was like a teenager, right? Like he's been.
Well, both Aaron and Robert are legacy characters. They are characters that have been on the show since they were children. So
Mm-hmm.
Robert was like iconically born on screen.
Mm,
And he's been on the show since forever, like as long as
mm-hmm.
he's been alive. But he was so Robert as a character is a part of the Sugden family,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the families that like established Emmerdale, the village.
Right.
And his character, he's the son of Jack and Sarah Sugden, and he has I guess three siblings.
Mm-hmm.
He's got
We'll get into that
Victoria,
later.
Andy, and we'll get to John later,
Yeah.
but Victoria and Andy are the ones he grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, I think, was a more of a half brother,
Yeah.
and that his dad took in.
Mm-hmm.
He and Andy had a like childhood rivalry of like they really didn't like each other,
Mm-hmm.
and they it just boiled over, and at some point I think Andy accidentally killed Robert's mom, Sarah, and in a pretty bad way, and uh yet he wasn't really ever held accountable for it, and like it really
Oh
drove
yeah, I forgot about
more of a
that.
wedge between Andy and Robert. I think attempted to like hurt or kill Andy, and then Jack was like, "Get out, like you're done," like
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of force Robert to go away. And so Robert leaves the village, and then Robert comes back in 2014, and
Okay.
so that's when he comes back. Aaron
Okay.
similarly has some like ups and downs where he comes in uh, the difference between Aaron and Robert is that Aaron's actor has been on the show since he
Yeah.
was like a
That's what
teenager.
I was. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
And so Aaron's character, I think, also had some like he didn't have quite as many storylines, I don't think, as a
Mm-hmm.
child, but once he was a teenager, he did have some storylines here and there. He
Mm-hmm.
iconically did make out with Victoria Sugden,
Mm-hmm.
Robert's sister,
Mm-hmm.
back before he knew he was gay. And then he left at some point. I think his mom kind of like he and his mom didn't always get along, and then
Mm-hmm.
all of
Oh,
that
that's
kind of
right.
thing. And
I
then
forgot about that. Yeah.
he comes back at some point around the same time, actually. I think in 2014, just like months earlier. And
Mm-hmm.
he comes back, I think, originally for only a few episodes stint, but then he ended up staying for like a longer haul.
Mm-hmm.
And then they introduce Robert again, and
Right.
then their
So
relationship starts.
I was about to say, so effectively, they bring Robert back onto the show with his fiance, which is Chrissy. Good old
Yes.
Chrissy. Um,
Oh, Chrissy.
and like this is like peak of the Sugden drama. Like there was always something big happening in the Sugden family, and that tended to be like a big storyline for like the next 5 years. There was something always happening with the Sugden that was like a mainstay.
Yeah,
Um,
especially with like the Whites, which is Chrissy's family,
yeah,
like her
yeah,
dad and her son, who, God, I
crazy.
fucking hate her son.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that guy. So,
Lucky, as she called
or
him.
Lucky, Lucky. Oh God, I forgot about that too.
She was such a terrible mom. That's the thing about Robron. Really quick, before we get into like the overview, I'm just gonna say Robron's storylines, if you
Hmm.
like Aaron and Robert and you're into them, it'll have you hating characters that you arguably like probably shouldn't hate. Like
Yeah,
Chrissy being mad that they're having an affair, like arguably like that's I support
yeah,
you in that. But the thing is that she's so terrible that you're just like, I hate you. And like
yeah.
similarly, like you kind of can't fault Chaz for being mad at like Robert at times because he's hurt Aaron or
Hmm.
because he killed her best friend, which we'll get to. And
Hmm.
some other
Hmm.
things. Like it's justifiable, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah, if
it's
you're
just
just
so you
watching the
gotta hate the
highlight
people.
clips, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll end up finding
And
yourself
then
sort of motivated to dislike the people who are getting in the way of Robert and Aaron. But if you're watching the show,
exactly.
like you started watching and you sort of got, now that they upload the full episodes to YouTube, I've been watching more of the whole episodes. I skip the storylines that
Oh,
I'm
I
not,
still skip the ones that I cannot
yeah,
stand. I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh my
But the
God."
characters that I do like, who there's a bigger bubble now of characters I appreciate in the show, outside of
Oh
just like
yeah.
the direct Robert and Aaron story, to the point where I prefer going through the episodes rather than watching the clips. That said, those first
Yeah.
like 5 years, you pretty much have to go watch the clips because the whole episodes aren't really anywhere. I mean, they probably are, but whatever.
Yeah. They
Don't put yourself
are
through
on
that.
UK's soap share, but you don't want
It's
to do
not.
that, I
It's
don't
not worth
think.
it. It's not
I
worth
don't
it.
think it's worth it. I think it's easier to get into just the clips and
Hmm.
just watch the clips
And the
because
production quality's
it's
gone
just
up too.
there's so many episodes. Like, oh my
Hmm.
God.
It's like ten
That's
thousand
the thing
from
too.
its inception to now. It's over 10,000. So it's like
Yeah,
crazy.
like the clips in Aaron and Robert 2015 playlist is 392 videos.
Yeah,
That's insane.
at
If
like
you
five
think
minutes
about that
each.
as if you think about that as like episodes, it's
Hmm.
probably close to 365, like one a
Yeah,
day, because that's
yeah.
about how much they do, except
Hmm.
for when there's footies on at the same time. But I think in
Hmm.
2014 and 2015, that was less common than like
Yeah,
this year was. So I just think, anyway.
yeah.
But yeah, so I just
Also, it's probably relevant to sort of just generally with the show. We've talked about the show is Emmerdale. We've talked about that. We've talked about like the village. The village is Emmerdale. Like that is the village.
yes.
That's why they call it the
Yes.
Dales. Like it's the village.
Yeah.
And when we
And I
talk about the
think the
village, it's like
show is
their
actually called
city.
Emmerdale. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I think it's in York. I think it's set like I think it's a fictional town, but I think it's like supposed to be in Yorkshire,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
England. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a
Yarp.
farming community. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, a lot of like the drama happens around like people's farms. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody causes a slurry leak or somebody's like stealing people's sheep or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, And so there's like and there's rival farms and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, that's the village where they're all at. And it's like a small town village, but like it's near bigger places. So like they have access to like big hospitals and like they'll have there's that whole scene where like Aaron and Robert would like go out to bars together and like those are outside
Hmm.
of the village. But
Yeah, I think they're close to Houghton, I think is
yeah,
the
I think it is.
closest like
Yeah.
town or city. Yeah.
So basically what happens though, to get back to the Robron, is because that's all you really need
Yes.
to know about Emmerdale. Um,
Yes.
is Robert returns. He's with Chrissy. He's engaged to her and gonna marry her. Like that's sort of what the pretense that he comes back under. Then he finds out that Aaron is gay. And I had to look this up because I remembered it. And it's because he teases Aaron and basically implies that Aaron has the hots for his fiance. And Aaron's like, I'm gay. No, I don't have the hots for your fiance.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Robert invests in his fucking scrapyard. Like he invests
That
in like
happens
his
later. But yes.
But like that's definitely motivated to get closer to
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes. Yeah, so essentially like yeah, and this is just fresh in my mind because I recently rewatched it, but like they meet because at the time, so the key things that you need to know about
Mhm.
Robert's return is that Robert returns and he's engaged to Chrissy White. She brings along her son Lachlan and her dad Lawrence. He and Robert is working for Lawrence, and
Mhm.
they have just bought this this farm or piece of land called Home Farm,
Mhm.
and they're living there, and Robert is going to like run the business of the farm and stuff like that. Robert and Chrissy were supposed to get married before they showed up
Yep.
to Emmerdale, but Lawrence allegedly faked a heart attack to get them to postpone the wedding because he doesn't like Robert. And so that's just like a key
That's gonna be-
important part.
That's going to be a recurring
It's-
factor, by the way.
Yeah. So Robert and Aaron meet because Aaron is working with a local thug thief dude named
Mhm.
Ross Barton, who I
Ooh.
love. Even
I
though
love
he's
Ross.
such a dork, and
He's
kind
hot,
of
though.
terrible, but I love him. He's hot, and
Yeah.
he's just such a dumbass that he's
Yeah.
just kind of fun. Like, even when he's being annoying, I'm just kind of
Mhm.
like, yeah, I like him
Mhm.
because he's kind of a chaotic, like,
Mhm.
wrench in things. Like you don't.
He's not
always know,
evil.
like
Like
what
he's
he's
chaotic
gonna be.
neutral. He's like chaotic neutral.
Yeah. Sometimes he does things that I'm like, damn, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't.
But he's done
don't
okay.
care.
Like there no character in the show. Well, that's not completely true. Most characters in the show are neutral, generally. I would say.
Most of them are pretty like chill.
Yeah.
Some of them are like super crazy, and then some of them are like kind of like the normies, but there's not that many normies. Most of them are kind of in the middle, and almost all of them have had moments of being like kind of crazy. So
True. Also, side note,
because it's a soap.
I want to make a side note. If you're watching this at a time where drinking's appropriate, I am not sponsored. I am having a few Mike's Hards.
Yeah, get your Mike's Hard peach flavor and drink it
at
to
your
this
local gas
episode.
station at 10 p.m. because that's what I did, and it was great.
Or like we used to do, you could drink Cayman Jack's margarita,
which is what I went to get because that was what we used to drink on our paint nights, but they didn't
Those
have
are
them.
they're like unironically like really good. Like,
Yeah,
and I haven't
they are.
had them in years, but
One of them makes me feel crazy.
They just are a good margarita when you can't actually have a margarita. Like if you don't have like tequila and margarita mix, like it's actually like a decent substitute. So
anyway, sorry to sidebar, but yeah. Period.
No,
anyway.
you're good. So Aaron and Ross are doing this. They're basically running a little bit of a chop shop. So they've been stealing cars and selling them for parts, or just selling them. And so Ross steals a car, and Aaron is like kind of pissed because I think they didn't, because I think it was something about like they stole a car like in town rather than from somewhere else. And Aaron was like, somebody's gonna know, blah blah blah. And Robert kind of finds them, and it's his car that they stole. And Aaron and Robert immediately have chemistry, even though they both kind of hate each other immediately too, and it's great. And there's a lot of shoving each other against things in their first like bit. And it's great. But yeah, so then Robert gets this crazy idea, because here's the thing about Robert too that you find out pretty quickly. He's fucking crazy. And
Yeah.
It's great. It's
He is
beautiful. So
insane.
he hires Aaron and Ross to stage a break-in to Home Farm.
Yeah.
And
Which is where he lives with Chrissy and all that.
with Chrissy and Lawrence, and he wants to show himself as the hero, essentially. And Lawrence is there, and I don't think that was planned. So
Mhm.
they kidnap Lawrence and they put him in this like barn
Yeah.
in the on the
Yep.
property.
Yep.
And Aaron and Robert have a few like flirty weird scenes. And again, this is before Robert knows that Aaron is gay, and it's before like it's
Yeah.
just great because they've known each other for like all of a week or two at this
Yeah.
point, and it's
Yep.
like they are already just like basically eye fucking, so it's great. And things just don't go great, but they end up Lawrence ends up having like a heart attack
That's right.
during this
I remember that.
commission.
Yep.
And but Robert gets to like act the hero and save Lawrence and all of this other stuff. And like Chrissy comes home at some point, which is also unplanned, and she freaks out.
Yep. I can hear
And
her little like, oh, like in my head. Yeah. Yeah.
she was always so quick to cry, and it
Yeah.
bugged the shit out of
Yeah,
me.
she was.
Yeah. So, and then like Robert and Aaron, like Ross and Aaron, like kind of get out, and Robert pays them. But I think Ross kind of blackmails him a little bit, trying to get more, because Ross is like kind of like that. And yeah. And then, so then Aaron and Robert are kind of like around, but then, and then to your point, Braden, Robert finds out that Aaron is gay, kind of has like a moment, and then he decides to fake a car breakdown. And
on the side of the
like,
road, that's right.
and exactly. And so instead of calling like AAA, whatever the British version of that is, he decides to call his sister Victoria and ask for Aaron's number specifically. Not the number of the garage, but for Aaron's number. And she gives it to him, and Aaron, it's his day off, but he comes anyway with a tow truck to help Robert out. And they have their first kiss, and it's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, that first kiss is like one of I watch it sometimes, and I'm like, I can't believe this was their first kiss, because it's like, oh, it's so good.
It is.
And Robert kind of has a moment where he's like, I can't do this, you know. So then he drives away, and Aaron's just kind of like, okay. And then he goes home. They both go home.
Yeah.
And Robert goes home and fucks Chrissy, and then basically immediately leaves. Doesn't even do any pillow talk.
Nope.
And then he goes back to find Aaron at the garage, and they have sex in the back of some random person's car. And they famously say it's a one-off.
Yeah.
Bitch, you just met your soulmate, okay?
Yeah.
You just met your soulmate. So
that sort of summarizes all 5 years of their relationship from the beginning.
Oh my god.
It's
insane.
There's a lot of nuance to it, but really it go like, if we went through every little thing that happened, it would be a lot. But I think we should just do it by the year and talk about like the main things that happened each year.
Yeah.
That was like sort of the that kind of back and forth happened that first year.
That's basically 2014. And then
into
a
2015.
lot happens in 2015.
2015 is when it's not just like a silly little side affair anymore.
Yeah, it's when it kind of boils over and some shit happens, and they have their first casualty as a couple.
Yeah.
And Okay, so 2015, arguably, well, I would say 2015 is probably 2015 and 2016 are probably their like biggest years. There's a lot that
Yeah.
happens. I would say let's just start with like
I mean, we have to
we
start with the
need to
wedding.
talk. Here's what we got to talk about with 2015. We got to talk about Andy and Katie a little bit because we got to get a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of background about Katie. We
Mm-hmm.
got to give. Then there's like the wedding and Katie's death.
Yeah.
And then there's like the affair era that's really angsty.
Mm-hmm.
There's the lodge
Yeah.
and Aaron's reveal, which we got to talk about that. And
Yeah.
then there's who shot Robert. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where we got to go.
I don't remember a whole lot about Andy and Katie specifically as characters. You might know a little bit more, but like that was sort of the clip side of things where like I didn't really see them too much outside of like the direct interactions with Aaron and Robert. Um, the
Well,
long
that's
short
really
of it,
funny.
I was gonna say Katie is Robert's brother. Katie's Robert's brother's wife, basically.
Yes.
And she becomes certain he is having an affair. Robert is. Not sure with who, but she just knows for certain that he is cheating on Chrissy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say, so first of all, it's funny that you say that because I also, when I rewatched, I was like, I forgot about Katie and
Mm-hmm.
Andy. And it
Mm-hmm.
was so funny because, like, they're in a lot of the clips actually
Yeah.
in 2014 and 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where I was like, how did I forget about these two fucking
Because we were
characters?
so focused
Um,
on the other character.
yeah. So, a little bit of background on Katie specifically is that
Mm-hmm.
she kind of grew up with Andy and Victoria and Robert as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so she and Andy had a thing, but more importantly, as teenagers, she also cheated on Andy with Robert at one point.
Oh. Mm.
And so there's a little bit of that. She vehemently hates Robert basically from the moment he steps back into the
Mm-hmm.
village. Andy and Katie get married, and Robert kind of like Robert and Andy had been bickering, and he and
Mm-hmm.
Katie hadn't been getting along, and all of this stuff for a really long time. And Robert and kind of like Aaron, of all people,
Mm-hmm.
talks to Robert and is like, you gotta be better. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be around somebody who acts like that to their family.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, within the day, not even like, it doesn't even take that long. It
Mm-hmm.
takes 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to his family and eating crow. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm sorry, and all these things. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I understand if you don't want me at the wedding and all this stuff. And then Andy's like, you can come to the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they go to the wedding. There's a little bit of drama there. Aaron and Robert make out a little bit on the DL.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and
Mm-hmm.
then, yeah. And then a little bit later,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say a few months later, it's time for Robert and
Chrissy.
Chrissy to get
Yep.
married.
Yep.
And Aaron has been struggling a little bit because he's like
Right.
kind of fallen
Robert's
for
been so
Robert.
and like Robert's so wishy-washy. Aaron's like head over heels and Robert's like playing the field. Like it's not reciprocated
Yeah.
really.
Well, and I think the thing for me is that, like, I do think that Robert felt it for Aaron, but
Mm-hmm.
was too stuck on holding on to, like, what he had and, like,
Yeah.
the
And he
life that
wanted
he
the
could have had.
business. Like he wanted the money
He
too.
he wanted the money, he wanted to prove that he could do something other than farming and be successful at it because, like, his
Mm-hmm.
dad and everybody else had kind of not expected him to make much of himself, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's all these things, and, like, there's this fun scene that I like between Aaron and Robert, during the affair era where Robert kind of tells him that he's had, like, one-night stands with other guys,
Mm-hmm.
in the past, but he's never
Like
slept
called him
with a
back.
guy like more than once
Yeah.
other than Aaron. And so I'm like,
Mhm.
you felt something for Aaron. And I think
Mhm.
it scared him because I don't think that he actually loved Chrissy. I think he might have
No.
had affection for her, but he didn't love her. And I think
Mhm.
that he started to feel something for Aaron that was deeper, but didn't know what to do with it because he's so
Mhm.
fucked up in his head, you know?
Mhm.
So not Chrissy, Katie gets really, like you said, gets invested in the fact that Robert is cheating, like just 100%. Even gets Chrissy to maybe believe her a little bit.
Mhm.
And they go to this hotel where Aaron and Robert are,
Oh, that's right.
and
I forgot
they
about
try to
that.
catch them in the act, but
Oh,
Robert
God.
gets Aaron out in time, and Robert is like, Robert pretends that it's a surprise for Chrissy, and Aaron wants to like out the affair because
Yeah. He wants
he
Robert to
thinks that
decide and choose.
he wants Robert to choose. And this kind of comes to a head on Robert's wedding day.
Because
So
it's a soap
Aaron,
opera. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't
because
it?
exactly. So Aaron kind of calls Robert to meet at a
Mhm.
certain place, and um he texts Katie to like
Be there.
come,
Mhm.
and he and Robert kind of get into it, and Aaron tells him that he loves him, and Robert's like, I can't, like, this isn't a love story,
Mhm.
famously said, by the
Mhm.
way. This
Mhm.
motherfucker is such an idiot.
Yep.
And um and they end up kissing, and Katie's there and she takes a picture. Robert
Yep.
freaks out. Aaron leaves.
And it's like, whatever. Bye. Like, yeah.
Aaron leaves, and then Katie and Robert kind of fight, and Aaron and Robert pushes Katie, and they're in this like old barn, and
Mhm.
she falls through this like rotted part of the floor and
Mhm.
dies. Like she lands on like a
It's
concrete
just dead.
basement,
Yeah.
and she's just dead immediately. It's kind of comical because, to be honest, like I don't think that she would have died
Mhm.
instantly like she did,
Yeah.
but you know,
Yeah.
whatever. She wasn't
Mhm.
impaled or anything.
Right.
She's just kind of, it was kind of funny, kind of
It's a very
soapy,
soap opera-esque. Yeah.
yeah. But that's kind of a pinnacle in like Aaron and Robert's relationship because Robert calls Aaron freaking out. Aaron comes back and helps, and to be a little devil's advocate here, Robert does kind of gaslight Aaron into
Mhm.
like believing that like it's kind of his fault and he's got to help him cover it up and all of
Yep.
these things, and like kind of basically saying like, if we don't cover this up, like you're in just as much trouble as me because you texted her to come here.
Right.
And like, and at this point in time, Aaron doesn't know that Robert pushed her and
Mhm.
caused her to fall. He tells Aaron that she just kind of was walking around and like stepped through the rotten
Mhm.
wood or whatever. So
Yep.
Aaron agrees to like
Help
clear
cover it up.
away their
Yeah.
footprints and cover it up. And then they go
Wow,
back
and he
to
does that,
Robert's.
right? Yeah, because he does that while
Yeah.
Robert gets married. He's in there like cleaning it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and Aaron comes in like during the vows, and Robert and Aaron share a look during the vows, and I
Mhm.
love it because it's just like, you guys are so, like,
Yeah.
they're incapable of not looking at each other, which is like I love. And then they go to this horrible reception,
Mhm.
and you can just, Robert is having the worst day of his life. He's not looking like he's having a good time.
Nope.
Aaron also doesn't look like he's having a good time. And they just proceed. Eventually, somebody finds Katie. I think it's actually
It's
Andy.
Andy. It was Andy,
And
and he like almost,
then,
you know, like he,
yeah.
you know,
And
like
then
smirks
there's
to
a
himself.
big fallout from that.
Yeah.
So, Aaron and Robert kind of keep seeing each other, but they kind of go off and on a little bit because
Mhm.
Aaron starts kind of self-harming. So
After what happened,
he
because of what happened.
because of what happens, he feels really guilty. Chaz, his mom, is starting to get like kind of suspicious. She's like, maybe like Katie was, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. And like Robert had kind of turned everybody against Katie at
Yeah.
that point in time and made
Mhm.
her seem to everybody else in the village like she was crazy. Even
Mhm.
Andy believed that she was
Yep.
kind of crazy.
Yep.
So a lot of people were feeling kind of guilty and all of that.
Because she had
And
told other
so
people that she thought Robert was having an affair, but he's like, I'm not having an affair.
exactly.
Like, she was
She was
crazy.
not quiet about it, to be
Right.
sure.
Right.
And yeah, and I think like, and because Robert was in the closet at this point, nobody suspected it to be a man either.
Mhm.
So there were some things that like they got away with because like
No one
they
expected it
knew
to be
that
them.
like
Yeah.
Robert had invested in Aaron's business at this point, and like they were using it
Mhm.
as a like cover to like hook up and do stuff,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
they were also kind of seen as like friends, so nobody really questioned when they were like
Yep.
hanging out together. So
Mhm.
like there was just a lot that like could be kind of swept under the rug because of
Yeah.
that. And so yeah, Aaron starts self-harming. He goes on all these runs and like really is pushing himself to like the limits. He's going on like multiple runs a day, like long runs. His feet are like blistering and
Oh, I
bleeding,
forgot
and
about that.
he's
Yeah.
like all this, it's all this horrible stuff. And Robert obviously notices because
Mhm.
he loves Aaron, but he's like in a kind of twisted way at this point. And
Mhm.
eventually uh kind of comes to a head where Aaron goes on this run, trips, hurts himself,
Mhm.
and he's in the woods alone for a little bit. Chaz, his mom, and Robert kind of go out looking for him.
Oh yeah, they do that.
Robert Robert almost bludgeons Robert almost bludgeons Chaz to death, and
Mhm.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good because she's just laying into him the whole
Yeah.
time, and
Because
he's
she
like,
does
you
not
know
like Robert.
what?
She does not like
Yeah,
Robert at
and
all.
then and like Robert doesn't like her either, to be fair.
Nope.
But then he talks himself out of it, or he snaps himself out of it, whatever. They find Aaron, and there's this really sweet moment where like Aaron is like saying his name, and Robert like takes off his jacket and like covers him with it, and Chaz is kind of like, no, just leave it, and then he's like, no, no, and like they get Aaron into an ambulance, and Chaz is like, you really do care for him, don't you?
Mhm.
And Robert's like, care for him? It's just like, and he's like, that's not even enough. Like you can
Yeah.
tell. And so it's really great because again, it shows that I think that Robert does like love Aaron. He just really doesn't know how to talk about it or even express it,
Mhm.
especially
And
in the
he's so
beginning of their
deep
relationship.
into everything that was happening outside of those woods. He was so deep in it, he couldn't address it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So then kind of 2015 continues, like they kind of go back and forth, and at
Mhm.
some point Aaron confesses that he's been having an affair with a married man
Mhm.
to his dad figure. Not his dad, but this guy that's kind of like a pseudo dad to him, his
Is this
friend Patty.
Patty? Yeah.
And but he doesn't tell him who. Eventually Patty kind of figures it out.
Mhm.
Then Aaron kind of talks about how like Katie happened
Mhm.
and all of that. And um there's some pretty fun lines in there. Like
Mhm.
it's just pretty good. And then Chaz finds out
Yep.
that like Aaron and Robert were having an affair during that time, and that Katie wasn't lying and all of
Yeah.
that.
And
And
so they put two and two
um
together and they're like, "Oh, like Katie wasn't lying and Robert probably killed her to cover that up."
yeah. And so then
Yep.
Aaron gets it in his mind that he needs to get Robert to confess on tape that he killed Katie and then turn him into the police.
Yep.
So he lures Robert up to this cabin, this lodge area, kind of
Mhm.
in a secluded part of somewhere in England. I don't even know if they specify. And Robert is kind of like all over him immediately, trying to make out, trying to have sex. And Aaron's just kind of like, let's talk about Katie and all of this stuff. And then Robert kind of catches on, and things escalate real quickly because he kind of takes Aaron hostage for a second.
Oh, that's right. The whole radiator
And
thing.
he chains him to a radiator, ties him to a radiator. Patty ends up coming up. I don't remember exactly how, but he figures out something, and he ends up going up there. And Robert accidentally shoots Patty, and then they end up kind of saving Patty, and then they're able to kind of talk Robert out of killing them.
Yep.
Again, I'm laughing, but also Robert couldn't kill them. Like, he
Right,
probably could have killed Patty, but he couldn't kill Aaron, and it was pretty great.
And like, he knows how much Patty means to Aaron, so he wasn't gonna
Yeah.
kill.
So then he lets them go. And then there's the famous scene of Aaron going over to Robert and Chrissy's house.
Yep.
And he tells Chrissy everything. He's just, and Robert's there, and he's just like, you know, that affair that Katie accused him of? Well, it's true. It was
true.
with me. And it's just
And
like,
it was
and then it
with
just
me.
goes, and it's, oh my God, it's so good. And like, just the drama of it, and like Danny
Alex-
Miller, who,
because it was with me.
just like, it's just so very, very good. And then at the end of it, he walks over to, like, he goes to leave, he doubles back, he leans into Robert, and he's like, all you've worked for, it's gone. And then he leaves, and it's like, fuck. And so then Robert's like outed in the community. Chrissy isn't quiet about it either.
No,
She's like,
Chrissy's
these
like,
two were going at it for months, you know?
And she's at one point, Robert's like, no, Chrissy. She's like, don't touch me. Like, totally,
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
crazy dramatic. Which fair crash out. I get it, girl. But like, it's just
lots of good Chrissy crash out moments, I gotta say, in this era, because there's also the line, there's only one other man, there's only one person in my marriage who's sleeping with another man, and it's not me. It's so good.
Yep.
So good.
God.
Because there's a random moment that I forgot about, I blocked from my memory, where Chrissy and Kane kiss.
Oh!
And Moira finds out about it, and that's where that line comes from, and I'm like, hello?
Oh.
Like, no. Chrissy and Kane?
Oh, God. Yeah. No, thank you.
No. Kane and Moira forever.
Yeah, Moira's a goddess. Love her.
They're side characters, and I love them so much. I mean, they're not really side characters. They're main characters.
Definitely not
Every
anymore.
character on a soap is a main character.
But they've given them more screen time in the past few years, I think.
love them. Oh my gosh. Moira is so hot. I love her.
Yeah, she is. She is. Yeah.
She serves cunt at every funeral she goes to.
True. Yeah, but
She
there's a
doesn't
lot of them in
care it's a
Emmerdale.
funeral.
There's a lot of funerals in Emmerdale.
A lot of funerals.
But he shows up. He tells Chrissy about the affair. Everybody starts putting like two and two together. It gets out. And then like, Katie, Andy figures out that Katie was right about Robert and the affair and everything, and then he's like, you probably killed her, and then attacks. And then but remember, I remember, because I just read this, but I remember this now. Robert lets Andy beat him up because Andy's daughter is watching him. I don't remember how old she was, but I remember she was pretty young. Again, Robert is just like always being like ulterior motive, like sneaky. They call him Mr. Shifty, and there's a reason they call him that. He's always like sort of doing shit like that.
Because he's shifty, because he's shady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then
Chrissy lights his car on fire. I forgot about that.
Chrissy lights his car on fire, and it explodes and causes it sends something up into the sky and causes a helicopter to crash into a big event.
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
And multiple people die.
Yep.
And so we
It was
got
like the
another
Red
couple
Wedding
of
of Emmerdale.
casualties.
It was the
Yeah, we
Red
have
Wedding of Emmerdale.
yes,
basically.
we have a couple of other casualties during this time.
Because
and,
of Chrissy going fucking psycho and blowing up a
but
car.
because of Robron, and it's amazing.
True. True.
Andy figures out that Robert killed Katie.
Yes.
Like, he starts to put things together. And to be
Mhm.
fair to Andy, well, not to be fair to Andy, actually, to drag Andy a little bit, he's such a dumb character. He's very stupid. Like, he doesn't, it takes him a minute to, like, understand things. And
Mhm.
so he finally kind of comes around to the idea that Robert could have killed Katie and all of this stuff. Robert does his gaslighting thing of
Mhm.
just getting everybody to think that Andy's going crazy and all of this
Mhm.
stuff. And eventually, Andy comes to the conclusion that he should just kill Robert. And
Mhm.
so then we get to the Who Shot Robert storyline. And that
Yep.
storyline lasts for a while. It starts in
Yeah.
September.
Months.
And then it kind of goes into like
The new year.
October and November.
Right?
And like, he doesn't wake up until late October. And he
Mhm.
doesn't remember who shot him and all of these things. And so Aaron has motive, Chrissy has motive, other people have motive because Robert's been a little bitch in the
Yep.
in the town.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so a lot of people are suspects for a while. They narrow
Yep.
in on Aaron. He gets sent to jail.
Yep, that's right.
He's doing time. And when Robert wakes up, the best thing about Robert waking up is he's like, Aaron wouldn't kill me. And it's
Yeah.
it's just so good, you know? And he's like,
Yep.
if I see him in the courtroom and see him face to face, I'll know.
Mhm.
And to be fair, Robert kind of underestimated his ability to read Aaron because Aaron was really fucking mad at
Mhm.
Robert and was like, I wish I had
Yeah,
shot you,
that's
or I
right.
wish
He's like,
he
I didn't, but
says
I wish I
something-
did. Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and he says something like, I wish they'd finished the job or something like that. So
Mhm.
so then, anyway, Robert finds out that Andy kind of worked out a deal with Ross, our
Mhm.
friend Ross,
Mhm.
for Ross to kill Robert,
Mhm.
and then Andy would kill Ross's brother because
Mhm.
at the time Ross's brother was dating Debbie, who you don't really need to know who
Yeah.
she is, but Ross wanted to be with Debbie. And so I think his brother had done something to like
Yeah.
almost killed Ross or something. So
Yeah.
anyway, so Robert finds out about this and is like, you've got to get Aaron out of prison and all of these
Mhm.
things. And then it
Mhm.
kind of goes through, that kind of takes us up through the end of the year, because that's when Robert finds out that Ross is the one that shot him. And so
Mhm.
he shows up at Ross's house and is like with a gun and is like, you fucking shot me.
Mhm.
And they kind of have it out. They don't, and obviously Robert doesn't end up shooting Ross and whatever. And then we cut into 2016.
Yep. Yep.
Lots of highlights in 2015. Very much the affair era.
Basically,
of
the ending of 2015 made Andy, Robert's brother, really mad at him. Because, well, which he has no right to really be mad because he orchestrated Robert's murder. But I think because it says here that Robert confronted Ross to like make Debbie be like, no way. But then I'm pretty sure Andy loses his kids, right? Like Sarah and his kids, he loses his kids
Debbie,
because of it.
because Debbie and Andy have their kids together,
Mhm.
Sarah and I think Jack, actually.
Mhm.
So Debbie finds out about Ross, is like reeling from it, and
Mhm.
I think in January, like after the new year, she
The
takes
kids
the
leave.
kids
They leave
and
the
runs
village.
away.
Yeah.
And they leave the village. They go to Australia, of all places. They're
Mhm.
still there now, except for
Mhm.
Sarah has come back, and she's annoying and I don't like her, but that's
Yeah.
beside the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's fun because she leaves and so Ross is kind of devastated. Andy, I
Mhm.
think, is upset, but I don't think he and in 2016, he and Robert kind of get past it. They kind of are
They
like,
realize they're
okay,
both terrible people, low key.
yeah, we gotta just put this aside. Like,
Mhm.
we're even now, you know?
Mhm.
And they kind of start to become more brotherly, which is kind of interesting. And I kind of like Andy. I wouldn't be super opposed if he came back, to be honest, in
Mhm.
2015. I mean 2025 might be kind of
Yeah.
fun. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think that
Because he did not die. He exited the show. But
yeah,
what
he goes on the run
yeah, he
for
goes on the run
something. I
and
can't
Robert helps
remember.
him get
Oh,
out.
I remember. I
I
remember
think it's
why.
later though. I think it's later. Yeah.
It's 2016, but I
Mhm.
remember why, and it's because of fucking Chrissy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Um.
Andy and Chrissy start going out.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And Chrissy's crazy by this point. Like after what happened, she was already crazy. But after what happened with
Chrissy's
Robert, like her
insane.
character is actually insane.
And
Um.
then, like, Andy makes some mistakes, and
Oh yeah.
then Chrissy just goes crazy.
Yep.
So, anyway.
What I will say is we're getting into 2016 now, which honestly, like after we get to like 2017, 2018, it's more domestic stuff. Like there's not you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's pretty domestic, which is great, but there's not as much drama, so not as much to cover. So what I will say, this is probably the last chunk of like real drama, but 2016 involves a storyline that is really triggering to some folks.
Yeah.
I'll just say that because there's a lot of folks who listen to this. I just want y'all to know. There's like mentions of self harm, obviously infidelity, but like also abuse, like uh, like
Child
child
sexual
abuse.
abuse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, child sexual abuse. So, and it's mentions of it, but it's just keep in mind if that's not something you're really
We won't get
prepared to.
into the
We won't get
details.
into
Yeah.
details, but if that's something you just want to skip, there will be timestamps in the description. You can just sort of jump to the next section. But as an overview, if you just want a light overview before we sort of describe it, not in detail, but just describe it, just know that the reason Aaron is not close to his father is because his father abused him and he had kept it super secret and like bottled it up and bottled it away and hadn't told anybody. And then Chas, his mom, like starts to reconcile with his dad. And basically it brings out all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is what
In
happens.
the soap style of things, his
Yeah.
dad
It's
shows up in the
and it's
village.
yeah, he shows up in the village and people start to like him and there's all this stuff and it's very long and drawn out. Very long and drawn
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah.
that's the one where basically 2016 after the whole Who Shot Robert thing, it's kind of like Robert's new leaf. Like he's
Yeah.
like he's divorced, like he's like doing his own thing. Like now then it's so the magnifying glass turns like 2 degrees to the right and is now focused on Aaron. Is what
Yes.
I will say for 2016. This is
Yeah.
like Aaron is basically Chaz. Robert learns Aaron's running away, and it's because of Gordon, and Gordon's his dad's name, Gordon Chas, who's his mom, reconciling because Aaron like left him a note. I remember that now. And then yeah, Robert like figures that out. He like goes after Aaron. He's like, Aaron, where are you going? Because Aaron's trying to lead the village, and then Aaron almost dies, and like it's because he's been self-harming and has developed sepsis. And so Robert's like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this? Um, yeah. And then like and Aaron doesn't really want to talk about it. Like he's like super
Yeah.
closed off, doesn't want to talk about it in a very dramatic way, but like understandably.
Well, yeah.
And
Yeah, I
then
mean,
but
go ahead.
but what the thing that I like that Robert does is he hears Aaron say this and he believes Aaron. Like he doesn't doubt Aaron for a second. He's like, Aaron told me these things are true, to the point where like he doesn't even know where Aaron went. Aaron's like missing and he like shows up. He's like at it says Debbie's house, which is hilarious. Because
Yeah,
after
because
everything that happened,
nobody is at
because
Debbie
no
and
one
Ross's
yeah,
house at this
because they
moment.
left.
Yeah.
So he's been like hiding out there again, still recovering from sepsis. And then that's like it's actually a very touching scene. But Aaron like breaks down The acting's really good. It's very sad, but he admits that Gordon abused him sexually as a child.
Mhm.
And then Robert, it says the next day, Robert, which I remember this now too. Robert sees Gordon in the pub, which is like a social spot, and Chas owns the pub, right?
Mhm.
Um, and sees him and basically tells him that he knows what Gordon did to Aaron and that he's gonna kill him if he doesn't leave town. Like
Yeah.
Robert's like dark side comes out, but now it's in a way to protect Aaron, which is
Yeah.
endearing at least. Um, and
Yeah,
then
and to give
yeah,
a little bit of context just to the lead up to this is
hmm
like, so is that Gordon is getting treatment for cancer, and Robert's stepmom, Diane,
hmm
actually sees him in the she's also getting treatment for cancer, so she sees him in the, like, waiting room or the one of the,
hmm
like, recovery rooms somewhere, and
hmm
she, like, kinda recognizes him but doesn't fully recognize him because he didn't
hmm
f I don't think he lived in the village for super long,
right,
but then they get to talking and she's like, "Oh my gosh, whatever." And she's like, "I think, because he has cancer and like all of these things." She's like,
hmm
"It might be good to like reach out and like reconcile with Chaz and
hmm
Aaron." Like, and he's like, "I don't know if they'd want to see me and all these things." And
hmm
so anyway, cuz Aaron lived Chaz famously like did not kind of when she and Gordon split, she kind of abandoned Aaron, and
hmm
Aaron went to live with his dad, and
yep,
then his dad got remarried to this lady named Sandra,
hmm
who had a kid with Gordon named Liv, who comes
hmm
up later.
yep,
And so that's kind of when this like abuse happened, was during
hmm
that time when Chaz and Aaron weren't living together.
hmm
And so yeah, so then it kind of like Aaron starts freaking out because Gordon's around and he really doesn't like him, and it doesn't really come out until he talks to Robert about it. And I
yeah,
do love how supportive Robert is of Aaron during this time. And
hmm
eventually Aaron kind of tells everybody that's important to him
including Chas.
about what happened. So he
Yeah,
tells Chaz. I really like the episode where he tells Chaz because they go to
yeah,
the beach like they did when he was a kid, and she knows something's up, but she doesn't know what.
hmm
And so she's just like kind of trying to have a good day with him, and then he tells her what happened and she gets
hmm
really angry but also very supportive. She and Robert kind of convince him to like make a statement to the
to the
police,
police. Yeah,
and so then there's just this kind of like dragged out thing of like the police getting involved and all of this stuff. And in the course of it, they're trying to get like witnesses for things. So Aaron tries to track down Sandra, and then he
hmm
finds his half sister Liv.
hmm
And they kind of get reconnected, and it's kind of cute and fun. I actually like Liv. A lot of people don't like Liv, but I actually think she's fun. She's an interesting character, and she's
hmm
only like 14, I think, when they meet again. And so she has moments of being kind of like defensive of her dad and like not fully believing Aaron, but then you can tell that like she's just a kid, in the
yeah,
sense that like she's being manipulated by her dad, obviously,
hmm
and Aaron's not manipulating her, but her dad is kind of manipulating her to think that he is. And
yeah,
so there's this like kind of fun dynamic, and it's like they actually do it pretty well, and that's like,
hmm
they don't always do that kind of thing very
yeah,
well in soaps. And so they actually do it pretty well. And Liv ends up coming and living with Aaron, because her mom kind of is not that great. And
yeah.
then there's the
Who her mom
trial of
refuses? Well,
Gordon
her mom refuses to help in the trial against Gordon, at
at
least at
first.
first.
Yeah.
But
Takes some time,
that's
but
the
she
scene.
comes
Remember,
around.
that's the scene where Robert and Aaron agree to take things slow, but that like
Yeah.
Robert still really likes him, and like
Yeah.
that he wants something, and they'll take it slow. Um,
Yeah. Robert essentially is like, I like you a lot. Like I want to, but you need to maybe sort through some things before. So I'll wait. until you're ready. And then they kind of have like this good friends to like lovers type of story arc, which is fun
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's less
because it's done
messy a
well.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
more
it's a healthier start to their
yeah.
relationship when they kind
Mm-hmm.
of get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Robert is more comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
himself. He's not like afraid to kiss
He's
Aaron in
not
public.
married. Yeah,
He's
he's
not
not married.
married,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So and Robert makes a sincere effort to like be better
Yeah.
for Aaron.
He's still got like
But what
that
I
schemy side to him, but he uses it in more morally gray ways rather than bad.
well, what I love about Robert, especially in 2016, but kind of from 2016 onward, is
Mm-hmm.
that he doesn't hesitate to tell Aaron, "Yes, I'm trying to be better, but I'm really only trying to be better for you. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about anybody else. I'll be better for you, and I'll do anything to protect you and who I care about." And so what's great is like you see that some with Liv. Robert gets protective of Liv, even though he and Liv don't always get along and he kind
They
of
butt
doesn't
heads
always
quite
like
often,
Liv.
actually.
Yeah, he doesn't love Liv at the beginning. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but he protects her because she's important to Aaron. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just like that a lot because I love the whole like I like that trope in media of just like
Mm-hmm.
that relationship trope of just, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm a shithead, but I'm soft for this one person and
Mm-hmm.
I'll kill everybody
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
protect him, but I won't hurt him. And that's what
They
I love about Robert because that's how he establishes himself like
yeah.
in 2016 and he doesn't change. He stays that
I'm about
the
to say,
rest of the
because
time.
really to expedite talking, because we are going on like past an hour of talking about this.
Yeah,
And normally my
we gotta
podcasts are an
move
hour,
along.
so we could try to aim.
2017 and 2018 are going to go by a lot faster.
Yeah, but even to expedite the trial, the important part is the actual trial. But basically, from here, there like the case moves nowhere at first because Sandra, who's Gordon's ex-wife, and like Liv's mom, is refusing to help with even though she was married to Gordon and like knows that it
Hmm.
happened. Um, she's refusing to help. Anyway, so Robert pays off some random dude to be like, yeah, actually, Gordon, did things to me when I was a kid too, and
Yeah,
like
like one of his
basically
neighbors.
it, yeah, or something, and it starts moving the case forward. But then Aaron finds out, he gets mad, and he's like, if this fucks up the case, this is all on you. And then it doesn't fuck up the case. Actually, I think I mean, it gets dramatic, but it actually ends up moving the case forward. And it does go to trial, and that's where like Gordon pretends to be super duper sick and like to get out. You know what I mean? He starts
Yeah.
then it Gordon it just Gordon's one of those characters that I hate and you're supposed to hate. But unfortunately, he's really good at what he does, which is manipulate people. Like he's good at
Hmm.
he is the soap opera manipulator to a T. And he's just really good at it. Um but he has like a lot of people. Everyone's like he tries to in a last ditch effort. He tries to pull the pity card,
Yeah.
because like I
And
have
it doesn't
cancer.
work.
No, it doesn't. People at first are like, and then they're like, oh, it doesn't. Um, but this is the whole thing where Chrissy gets together with Andy, but it it yeah, and then it like because then Robert's like all kind of hung up on that, and Aaron is like going through all this shit, and then it like kind of causes a little strife between them. Um, and then yeah, Robert. There's a lot of like Aaron asking Robert not to be like a witness, and Robert's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna be a witness," and um, yeah, and oh, that's where he admits how much he loves him in court. You remember
Hmm.
that? Yeah, he like
Hmm.
on a witness stand, he talks about how much he loves him and how Aaron wouldn't lie about this, and like, um, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
like Gordon's like trying to manipulate them from the stand. It's really weird and just
Yeah.
gross. And even the poor
Yeah.
Liv, like it's awful.
Hmm.
And it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to get through. That whole arc, it
Yeah.
gets a little tough.
Yeah, it's hard and it drags on for a bit and like
Mhm.
um if you can stomach it, like I think it's good. Like
It's
I
good
rewatched
storytelling.
it,
It
and there
is.
was a part of me that was like, "Am I gonna watch this whole thing?" And I did, and
Hmm.
it was
I
good.
remember us
I
going through it
really
the first
liked,
time. We were like, oh, oh.
yeah. I think when Liv kind of has her moment, because when Liv takes the stand, you don't know if she's going to speak for Aaron or if she's going to speak for her dad. And then
Hmm.
her dad thinks she's going to speak for him, but she ends up speaking for Aaron. And I really like that moment because in
Hmm.
that moment, like Liv kind of wakes up and is just like, and chooses Aaron, like
And like, she's
somebody
like, actually, my
who
dad is
loves
an
her
asshole. Yeah.
unconditionally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great. And so then that's when she moves in with Aaron, like
Hmm.
fully, permanently,
And
and
and Gordon is
like
found guilty. He's found
Gordon's found
guilty.
guilty. I think he dies in prison
Hmm.
pretty quickly. I
Because he
don't
has
know if he gets
cancer.
murdered or if it's because he has cancer. It is
Hmm.
funny because for a second, Aaron is like, "Did you kill my dad?" Because he thinks that
Yeah.
Robert might have like paid somebody or something. And
Hmm.
Robert's like, "No, I didn't. Like,
Hmm.
I would have if you'd asked, but I didn't," kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's good. And so then they kind of fall into this like more kind of softer relationship, and they don't
Hmm.
go through as many trials and tribulations for the rest of the, I wouldn't say for the rest of the year. I would say like until later in the year. Their biggest thing is like just dealing with Liv because they have Liv now, and so Aaron has to deal with like having basically helping to parent Liv, even though he's
Hmm.
not her parent, but he's kind of acting as her guardian right now and things like that. So, just in the interest of time, just glazing over that.
Mm.
The whole thing with Andy and Chrissy kind of comes to a head. Chrissy kind of frames Andy for hurting her dad when it was her son, Lachlan, and Robert helps Andy flee and like gets him a new identity and helps him go on the run. And so that's when Andy leaves the show.
Hmm.
Um and Chrissy has kind of a horrible short bob haircut at this time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and yeah, and then you get into, and then the biggest thing we need to cover from 2016 before we jump into 2017 is just the
Hmm.
Super Soap Week
Oh yeah.
episodes. Yeah, so Super Soap Week is essentially it's this big week where I think all of the major soaps have like major episodes that are like crazy, and it's usually like in 2016 it was really high production value. There was a large casualty event where people were, a lot of characters that had been on the show for a while were in like on death's door type of situation. It was like, who is
Hmm.
gonna survive, who's gonna
Hmm.
die? And so that's kind of what that episode was. And so leading
That's from
up
the
to
car
that,
explosion, yeah. Yep.
it's when, yeah, James gets pushed off the bridge and causes a big car collision. And
That's
then,
what it was.
yeah. So what ends up happening leading up to this, the important thing for the Robron of it all is that
Hmm.
Lachlan, Chrissy's son, had been cyberbullying Liv.
He's the
And
one pretending to be
so,
Gordon, right? That ends up right. That's the
yeah,
whole thing where like, and then
yeah,
she like wants to get back at Robert because she thought it was Robert doing it, and Robert's like,
yeah.
that wouldn't
And
be me. And then she basically gets Robert sent to prison because she gets that dude that Robert paid to pose as Gordon's second victim to go to the police and confess. It was a whole thing.
yeah,
And then Liv was like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, like I tried to change my mind last minute, and Robert was like, you know what? Maybe this is just karma
He lets
for
it go.
everything I've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And then, but then they find out it's Lachlan, and like Aaron's pretty mad. And it's really funny because we get a glimpse of Aaron kind of going crazy. And so
Yeah.
he shows up. Robert has decided to propose to Aaron.
Yeah, that's
and,
right. I
and,
forgot about that.
and like he's got this day planned. And Aaron shows up. And Robert's like, let's get it on in this barn. And Aaron's like, hold on, just one second. I gotta show you something. And so he comes out, he opens the trunk of his car, and inside it is Lachlan with like duct tape, and he's tied up. And Robert is like, what the hell, you know, like
Mhm.
you get on to me for doing
Mhm.
shit like this, you
Yep.
know. And
Yep.
it's just great because you get some fun moments. And Aaron says something that I love. He calls him a sick little liar, and
Mhm.
it's just great. Not Robert Lachlan. And so then
Yep.
they have to deal with that. And then so they're driving around, and Robert's kind of like annoyed with Aaron. And Aaron, you know, you get some fun moments. You get Robert, I think for the first time, saying that he's bisexual, like out loud.
Mhm.
He says, I'm bisexual.
Mhm.
And Aaron's kind of a little bit biphobic for a second, and
Yep.
Robert's like, pull over the car. And then they pull over and they go into the woods, and they have a moment where
Mhm.
Robert kind of just discloses to Aaron that he kissed a boy when he was like young, when he was like a teenager, and his dad kind of flipped out on him. And
Mhm.
so he just kind of has been repressing like his
Yep.
bisexuality for a while, and all of that. And then he says to Aaron, he's like, I just want to be myself now with you. And Aaron's
Mhm.
like, I, you know, like
I
they
love
kiss
you.
and they're
Yeah.
happy. And Robert reaches for the ring, but it's not in his pocket, it's in
Mhm.
the car. So they go
Mhm.
back to the car, and anyway, they get back on the road. This big pileup happens. Aaron and
The
Robert
Super Soap Week pileup has
swerve.
happened, and they come upon it, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
They
And
swerve. They go off into a ravine, and they're like sinking. And
in a lake.
Aaron's
Yeah.
like, "Just go, just get out," you know.
Mhm.
And Robert ends up coming
Saving
out,
Aaron. Yeah.
diving in, saving him, pulling him back out, diving back in to get the ring
Mhm.
because
Because.
he's insane.
Mhm.
And I love it. And then yeah, and then he proposes. Aaron says yes. They
Mhm.
get married in 2017. I
But
want
he
to say
has
at the
to.
beginning.
I'm pretty sure. Uh, Aaron has to go to the hospital, right? Like,
Yeah, he
yeah.
goes to
After
the
that,
hospital when he after like getting pulled out of the ravine because he's
and then that's when
like
he wakes
inhaled a
up, and
lot of
he's like,
water. And
"I do," or whatever. Like he wakes up.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like
Yeah.
yes, you know, like he
Yeah.
says yes.
Yeah, and
And
that's like the
then
big thing. That's the big
yeah.
thing. Um,
And I think there's some they have a cute Christmas that year.
with like
They have like
him,
matching
those two, and Liv.
sweaters.
Yeah, and like
Yeah,
Liv is
it's
like a part of their
cute.
family, and like Liv's problematic,
Yeah.
but Aaron, basically Aaron's like she's not that different than I was at her age. Like we
Yeah.
come from the same stock. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
The only other thing about 2016 that's like kind of important to know
mhm.
is that Rebecca, Chrissy's sister, shows up in the village.
Yeah.
And it comes out that Robert, the slut that he is,
Mhm.
slept with Rebecca during during his engagement to Chrissy.
Yeah.
So
Before Aaron, I'm
he
pretty sure.
before he came to the village.
Mhm.
And so there's a little bit of uh
Mhm.
like drama there. But it's just important because it's important in 2017. So then
Mhm.
we get into 2017.
Mhm.
Let me
That's in 2017 though. Rebecca comes back, and when Aaron learns about the affair, it's like that biphobia kind of stuff comes back up, and he like tweaks out, and then he like comes in
Well,
there and screams at Robert about it. And Robert's like, you know what? If this is how you're gonna act, I don't want to marry you, and it turns into this like whole thing.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and then
But they do get married,
yeah,
and it's very cute.
yeah,
2017 is kind of like
yeah,
messy,
and yeah,
and I
it
haven't
is
watched
messy,
it
but
in
it's
a
like really
while.
domestic. Like they're messy with each other. Is sort of
Yeah,
if I remember right.
well, and then Aaron goes to prison though in
Yeah.
2017.
Because he attacks that dude, right? Or whatever. Because he's
Yeah,
basically crazy after everything that's happened, I think.
yeah. So he ends up going, and like Aaron's actor had paternity leave, I think. So they just
Yeah.
needed to write him so that he
Yeah.
could be kind of limited in the
That's the
show.
funny
So
part about
he
soap operas is because they're always there. So when they take vacations or they take breaks, they're written out of the story somehow. And a lot of times
Yeah.
it's not very it's they're like they'll be in the middle of something and it has to happen because of legal reasons, so it's like not the smoothest transition.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's just
Um,
soaps. That's just a soap thing.
yeah. So Aaron goes to prison for a little while. He has a tough time in prison. Like he's
Yeah.
getting kind of like beat up and like ganged up on, but
Mhm.
Robert does a lot to like get Aaron out. And I think it's while Aaron is in prison that
Mhm.
Robert sleeps with Rebecca. Am I right?
Does he? Maybe. Maybe. I don't.
Because that's how they get Seb. I mean,
True. I forgot about that. That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I also kind of blocked that out. I want to say it's while he's in prison.
I want to say
And
also this is maybe I'm wrong, but it felt kind of predatory. I don't really remember a whole lot of the vibe from it because I think I skipped it. Like I couldn't watch it.
oh, I hate it because Rebecca's kind of blackmaily and
Yeah,
like,
she's
and
like
I think
a
he gets
female
drunk.
robber. Yeah, and
Yeah,
if I remember right, she takes a little bit of advantage of Robert. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, it's definitely a one night stand. And if I remember correctly too, it was like Aaron like, I don't think that Aaron necessarily, I don't, if I remember correctly, I don't think
Mhm.
they necessarily think of it as cheating in some ways because, like, like Aaron was in prison, and then I also think that, like, they had some rough patches while he was in
Mhm.
prison where, like, Aaron was, like, like, because I think Aaron thought he was going to be gone for a while before, he found out that he wasn't. So anyway, but what ends up happening is Rebecca gets pregnant
Yeah.
with Robert's child,
Well,
and
there's
Robert
also that's the whole thing. Yeah, because Aaron goes to prison for a year or gets sentenced to a year, but they do the unofficial wedding before he goes to jail.
Yes,
Mhm.
he gets married. They get married before they go to jail, before he
Mhm.
goes to jail.
And then
Um
gets drunk and sleeps
and
with
then
Rebecca. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at some point while he's in prison for like at least a few months, but
Mhm.
I know that they get him out early because they find some evidence or they do something like that. Um and it's good, like, and then Robert doesn't try to hide like what happens with
Mhm.
Chrissy, like with Rebecca, so he confesses to Aaron and they end up kind of, breaking up for a bit and
Mhm.
for a little while, to be honest. And
Yeah.
Aaron tries to move on, and Robert is going through all the stuff with like Rebecca and trying to like Rebecca has his kid and they like, have to deal with all of
Yeah,
that.
and there's like Aaron starts abusing substance. There's the whole substance abuse thing, which I don't even want to get
Oh
into.
yeah. We don't have to get into
That was a
that.
very contrived soap opera plot, really is all it
Yeah.
was.
And
Um,
then yeah, let's I mean that's basically 2017.
yeah. And then
There's drama, but it's
and
not
then
the
Robert
fun
does
kind.
tell Chas about the sleeping with Rebecca. She slaps him and then goes and slaps Rebecca.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then and Robert confesses to Aaron about what happened. Um, I forget. I think because they basically come to terms with it. He's like, you know what? I think we can get past or move through this together. And then they learn that Rebecca's pregnant.
Yeah.
That's basically
And
what
then
happens.
and then I think Aaron's just kind of like, I can't necessarily deal with that. Like, and like
Mm-hmm.
fair enough in some ways. Like I get
Yeah.
that. And so then they kind of break up. I don't know if they get like an official divorce, but they break
I don't
up.
think they do. I don't think they
And
do.
eventually Aaron starts dating this guy who's like kind of just a bland guy. But he's just some
Mm-hmm.
guy. Um and Robert doesn't take it super great.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of he blames like, Rebecca for kind of coming between Robert, like Aaron and Robert,
Oh, that
and
Alex. That's
all.
his name. Alex. That was who it
Yeah.
was. Sorry,
And
Alex. Editor Alex.
sorry, bud. Yeah, and then yeah, so I mean there's just like there's a lot of that. And then I want to say that, like, I can't remember how 2017 ends. I think it's not that, like, climactic. I don't
It's
think they don't
yeah.
have. I think it's just kind of a bit of like they're apart, they're not together, and I think it takes some time. I do think Robert ends up in the hospital, and
Yeah,
for the
because
life of me,
Lawrence
I
like
can't
assaults
remember.
him. Lawrence does
Oh yeah,
something to
that's
him.
right. And
Yeah.
like Aaron they have kind of a sweet moment in the hospital, but like they're still not back together.
Basically,
And
Robert's
then
like, I have to move on from Aaron because Aaron's dating this guy, and I'm miserable the more I think about it. And then
yeah,
Rebecca shows up, and she's like, "You don't get to see your son." So then Robert doesn't have Aaron. He doesn't have his son. He has nothing. Basically, is how
yeah, so
2018
it's
starts.
yeah. And then but then, like, Robert kind of fights for Seb, his
Mm-hmm.
son, like, tries to, you know, tries to get custody of him, or at least partial custody, and like
Oh my
and then
god, I
Aaron and
forgot about
Robert,
this. No, do you
what?
remember the thing where like they're trying to like Chrissy and them are like trying to kidnap Seb and Lachlan grabs the wheel and veers it off the road and kills Chrissy and Lawrence. Do you remember that shit? Like the one moment Lachlan's conscious like forms, he's like, "Oh," and he like kills his mom and grandfather. You remember that whole shit?
I remember that now that you say it,
Mm-hmm. And then
but I had forgotten,
Lachlan
to
walks
be
away
honest.
okay. Rebecca's in critical care. Chrissy and Lawrence are dead. And so then Robert's like, well, now I have to
So
be a
he
father
has
to
to like,
Seb,
yeah, he
basically.
has to step up. Yeah, he has to step
Yeah.
up, and Aaron kind of ends up like sometimes helping
Mm-hmm.
with like babysitting and stuff, and like I think he's still dating the
Alec,
guy,
he
like the
is.
doctor, for a
Because
while.
when they're in the hospital, Robert thinks they have a chance, but then Alex moves in with Aaron. And so then Robert's like, and then I forgot about this, the whole thing where Robert and Victoria got to a gay bar together and with all the other women from the
With all the
village.
other ladies.
And it
Oh,
was like a
so
girls'
good.
night, and Robert's having a great time, and then fucking Aaron shows up. And so Robert's like, great, my night is ruined, and leaves.
Yeah.
And then, and Aaron, I think Robert,
But
or
then
Aaron finds him, and and
Aaron
he breaks
Aaron
up with Alex because
basically
of it.
Aaron basically sees Robert deciding to move on and is like and can't handle it. So he
Yeah.
breaks up with his boyfriend on the spot that he
Yep.
just moved in with, and then
Yep.
is like, "Robert, come home with me."
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
They have
Pretty
a
much.
really good I like the 2018 reunion a lot
Mm-hmm.
because Aaron is like, I've seen how much you've like grown, how much you're fighting for the people you love,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I'm sick of pretending that I don't want you. Like, and
And
like
but
sick
then
of
Robert is like, I can't lose you again. Like I don't want to be with you because I
yeah.
literally am going to lose my mind if I lose you again.
Yeah.
And so he rejects
But
Aaron
then
at
but
first.
then like the same night, like
Yeah.
Aaron is just like begging him. He's just like, please, like
That whole
all of this
scene is
stuff.
so good.
And
That
it's
episode,
so
those
good. Their
clips are so
reunion,
good.
so good. And so then
Mm-hmm.
they get back together, and then they have like some more domesticity, like a lot more domesticity because they've got the baby, they've got Liv,
Mm-hmm.
they've got all this stuff. And I don't really remember much else that happens in 2018 other than the dual proposal, iconic.
Mm-hmm.
They propose to each other at the exact same time. They jinx each other, and it's great. Um, and and then yeah, and then like they have some
Liv
cute
has to go
moments.
to juvie. I remember that at one point. Liv goes to
Yeah, I
juvie.
think yeah, I remember
And
that too.
her whole trigger warning for, I mean, we're just gonna mention it, alcoholism. She like gets
Yeah.
addicted. Remember, she gets like starts drinking like crazy, and she's like 15,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a very messy storyline. It was, I don't know. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was interesting to see Aaron and Robert navigate that.
Yeah.
Let's
And
see.
yeah.
Then Lachlan tries to kill Robert, and by proxy, Liv.
And then 2019, like we don't need to talk too much about it.
Yeah.
Just the context for Robert leaving, I think.
Yeah, because like that was it. Like they were writing him out of the show, but they couldn't do it quick.
Yeah, so Robert and Erin get married and or get remarried, renew their vows, whatever. So then Robert like leaves the show, but it's
Well, he lets first Rebecca's leaving the show, but like he gives Seb over eventually. Before that, he gives
yeah,
Seb over.
and like Rebecca is dating Ross for a bit, so Ross kind of ends up helping to parent Seb.
It's
So
such a weird dynamic. Yeah.
it's so weird. Yeah, and then so Robert's sister Victoria gets assaulted, trigger warning, by somebody, and Robert ends up attacking him kind of in a fit of rage. It's kind of
But
a
like as a
impulsive thing
to get basically to not even revenge, but like a
in defense of his
yeah,
sister though.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
and he hits him in the head and he later dies of
Yeah.
like complications. So it's not like he didn't hit him and then he died immediately. He had, and I think if I remember correctly, I think he had like gotten in a fight like earlier that day and had already like been hit a couple of times. And so when Robert hit him, it was like the final one that did it or something. So it's just one of those things where it was kind of stupid, but but it was the first time that like Robert had like intentionally kind of
Yeah.
killed somebody, because like when he killed Katie, it was definitely an accident. Like he shoved her back and she
But it
fell through the
wasn't on
floor
purpose
and
because
died,
he
but it
immediately
wasn't
was
like
like he was taking it back.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and then there's a lot of like there's like a moment where Aaron and Robert are going to run away and Robert ends up tricking Aaron and giving himself over to the police, and then he gets sent down for murder.
It's like
And
they call it GBH on here. Is that grand battery homicide or something?
for
Grievous
sure,
bodily harm with intent is what he gets charged for. And he's looking
yeah,
at life imprisonment, but his lawyer gets a plea deal where if he pleads guilty, he'll get a 5-year sentence.
yeah,
Which Aaron doesn't want him to do. Aaron wants him to plead not guilty, then not go to jail, obviously. But he notices how difficult it is for Victoria, who's like Victoria, although she has her faults, even when she loses track with Robert and like she always comes back around. She's like one of the few people in the village that like ultimately is going to support Robert. Sometimes it takes a little bit, as recent, but yeah. That said, it was he pleads guilty, and then Aaron gets pissed off, rightfully so. But Aaron's like, "Well, run away together," because then the guy dies later, and then Aaron. So they go on the run, but then Robert's like, "You're not gonna have a life if we do this." So Robert turns himself in, and then he pleads guilty for a minimum of 14 years.
yes. Aaron wants to try to break him out of prison.
Yep.
And Liv and Patty like lock him in the house to prevent him from going and breaking Robert out. And then he visits Robert a couple of times while he's in prison. And then Robert basically sends him like divorce papers and cuts contact.
Well,
because
yeah, well, he doesn't tell him that he's getting transferred. So Aaron like just doesn't know that he's, he just basically stops. He makes it so that Aaron can't talk to him anymore. He doesn't tell Aaron where he went.
Cuts contact, takes him off the visitor log, like all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't tell Aaron when Aaron comes to visit him, and so like Robert has a breakdown because he's like, "This is the last time I'm going to see Aaron." Aaron has no idea. But I didn't realize this. I guess I had forgotten about it, or maybe I just stopped watching up until this point. But Liv dies.
She dies in like 2023, 2022. She dies later. Yeah. Yeah, so after Robert gets sent down,
That's like it. Like that.
that's
Robron's
kind of
gone
like Robron stopped,
in
hard stop
2019.
for like
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
And you
Presumably
see
indefinitely.
Aaron,
We thought it was indefinite. We thought it was done.
yeah. Yeah, we did think that it was forever, like it was over. And you see Aaron kind of live with the fallout of it for a while. He ends up leaving the village at some point after a year or two, so sometime I think in 2020 or 2021 he leaves. But then he comes back for a little bit. There's a live special where she ends up dying.
What happens to her?
She has epilepsy, I think, and so I think
Oh.
she has like a seizure and dies, and it's kind of
Okay.
really upsetting for Aaron, and so it's like
Yeah.
pretty messed up. And he goes through a really angry period where he's just an asshole to everybody, and honestly, like, go Aaron. Like, it's kind
Yeah,
of
I don't
fun.
blame you.
And then sometime I think in 2024 or towards the end of 2023, I
Yeah,
can't remember.
I think it was 2024 because this is where people were
I
like,
think it
"Is
was.
Robert coming back?" Like,
Yeah.
because it was a thing where, because I remember seeing a clip of this actually in isolation, was that Robert had to figure out where Seb was gonna live, because like that whole thing, Rebecca dies or something like that, like,
Yeah,
and then
Rebecca dies.
Ross
Like,
has to be like, "Hey, Rebecca dies. What are we doing with Seb?" I
yeah,
think.
because I think Ross also I think Ross and Rebecca like leave the village for a while, and so I think Ross's actor also leaves for a
Yeah.
while, but then he comes back, but sans Rebecca, and so they had to explain why, and I guess because Rebecca died, and so yeah.
Okay.
And then Aaron like loses Seb as well, and I don't know what happens to Seb. I think like that's something that we might hopefully learn in
I'm sure it.
2025.
They leave it if the character doesn't die, they have an intention of at some point bringing them back. Really,
Yeah.
is like how Emmerdale
Yeah.
works. That's how soap operas tend to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Same with Andy. Like
So-
people are waiting now that Robert's back, which we're about to get into, that Andy will come back at some point because they ended up finishing like this. Like they were like brothers in the end. Like they were like,
Yeah.
So they're thinking that he's going to
But
be used
Andy
as a
is
plot
still
point.
on the run for stuff, but I don't think
So-
that he can
right.
necessarily get arrested anymore because the person
Yeah.
he was accused of assaulting is dead. So like, who cares?
There
You know what I
would be
mean?
some soap opera rule, and he'll show up. I still think he'll probably end up making an
Bernice is
appearance.
back, so
Yeah, that's
it'd
what
be
I'm
fun
saying.
if
They're
he came
starting to
back.
bring back characters that were present in the beginning of Robron, which
Yeah.
is ironic that they're all starting to come back now, given where Robron is. But so the morning, it was in May, or what? Not was it May of this year?
It was May 25th,
Okay.
2025.
All right. Yeah, I'm glad you remember the day because that's the day I woke up to Lauren's text being like, "Oh my God, Robron in the
May
year of our
25th?
Lord." It was
Let me just look.
it was this summer. It was this summer.
I have it.
think.
It's in my
I could
Tumblr
also just
bio.
search Robron in our texts and probably find it pretty quick.
May 28th, 2025.
Okay.
Return of the King.
Yes. So Robert comes back and he's released from prison on probation. He's still on probation. After appealing that the death wasn't technically directly linked to him because Lee and his brother got
because
into
of
it.
the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Robert hears that Aaron's engaged to his own half brother, who we didn't know about.
Who he had never known about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this
secret
like
half-brother,
unicorn child.
Very soapy. Very soapy.
Yeah,
It was
like
just
his half brother.
There's a random other
But
guy. Yeah.
Aaron's literally getting married to Robert's half brother, which okay. They were playing the long game with this. They must have known Ryan was coming back for a while. I guarantee you.
I think they probably knew for at least a few months.
Yeah.
Like I feel like because there's a like maybe too much of like a build up to this wedding where like honestly they're like John and Aaron's wedding looked pretty small, all things considered. There weren't that many people
Pretty
there.
rushed.
It was kind of in this dinky church. Like it was like, not that great. And so Mac wasn't even there. Like so like I think
which
that,
we'll get to Mac. Mac's a very important character. He's
But
like Aaron's number one best friend.
Yeah. but like, so yeah, I think that they probably had that. So
Yep.
I will say, to give a little bit of context around John, is like he enters the show, I want to say around 2020, the beginning of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he shows up as like this like long lost half brother of Victoria,
Mm-hmm.
Sugden and Robert and all of
Mm-hmm.
them, and he kind of ends up worming his way into the community. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting because he kind of from the outset is not necessarily seen as like a good guy. And
Mm-hmm.
it's different than Robert was in some
Mm-hmm.
ways, because like when Robert gets introduced, he's this legacy character from
Mm-hmm.
years ago, and like he hasn't been on the show for like 8 or 9 years, but like he like everybody knows who Robert Sugden is if they've been watching Emmerdale or known about
Mm-hmm.
Emmerdale, right? So he's this legacy character that when he comes back in 2014, there's like automatically a little bit of a connection to him. And even though he acts kind of horribly for a little
Mm-hmm.
while, like you kind of can't help but root for him at times,
Yeah.
because like sometimes it's just like, I don't know, it's just good drama. And
Yeah.
he's very good at being this kind of villainous character, but
Mm-hmm.
also having a side to him that's not villainous. That's like
And like a
kind of like he's
redeemable.
that
Yeah.
morally gray, like living in that. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to watch that in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
With John though, I think that he wasn't really that. Like he would
Mm-hmm.
come in, he would kind of hurt people, put them in a position where they needed to be saved, and then he would come in and save them. And so it was just
Conveniently.
this messed, and that was how he gained people's trust.
Mm-hmm.
So he did
But
it
he
with,
would do it for context. He did bad things to people and like borderline killed them, and then would come in and save
yeah,
them in the final hour, basically.
yeah. Like he messed with Chaz's like medication that she had to take,
Mm-hmm.
caused her to like take, I think, too much of it. She like passed out and hit her head on like the bar at the pub. And so when he found her, like she could have died. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not even like, because she was alone and like she hit her head, and like that's something
Mm-hmm.
that like he didn't necessarily account for. And so
Mm-hmm.
he saved her and all that. And that's kind of how he gets on Chaz's good
Yeah.
side and on Aaron's a little bit more. And so he just slowly kind of gathers
Weasels
everybody
and
onto
manipulates
his
his way
good
into
side.
the yeah.
And he kills Nate,
So
this
Nate is a long running character. Nate's been around for a while because he was around at the end of Robron, wasn't he? Nate.
I don't remember him,
Okay,
but I
I'm pretty
also didn't
sure I'd
remember Joe
seen
Tate, so
fair. I'd seen Nate in the years leading up to this occasionally, like in the
okay.
one-off Blue Moon where like one of the characters Aaron would have clips or something. I'd seen Nate.
Yeah, well
Um,
maybe he came in like
I don't remember.
2019 or
Maybe
something.
I'm
He's
pretty sure he was
Kane's
involved.
long
Yeah,
lost son, who
yeah.
is Aaron's
Which,
uncle, so
but
he's Aaron's cousin.
by the way, fun fact. I had a dream last night that for some reason Kane and Moira lived in my cul-de-sac that I grew up in Tennessee. And I like as my dream was ending, I knew my dream was about to end because I was like, I feel like I'm gonna wake up soon. And I was like, but I had the thought, I was like, I need to get a picture with them to show Lauren to prove that they were here. And I literally remember walking up to their door and knocking on it, and Moira and Kane answer the door, and then I woke up. It was so fucking funny.
That is so funny.
But my
Look,
my brain being like, I need to go tell Lauren about this.
I love it. It's so good. Because here's the thing, okay? Like, and here's the other thing. Like, I love Aaron and Robert.
hmm
They're my OTP. I love
hmm
them.
hmm
But there's something about Kane and Moira that I'm just
I
like,
love them
I will
too.
die for them.
I
Please,
love
just
Kane's
I
fun too.
love them.
Kane's like the good version of what old Robert used to be. Like he's not as he can be morally gray, but he leans towards good.
He's
Moira
a
is
little bit
good.
more softened around
Yeah,
the edges. Yeah.
yeah. Moira, because
Well,
I love Moira so much.
I love Moira. I agree that she's good, but what I love about Kane and Moira, because I went down the rabbit hole a couple of weeks ago and I was like,
hmm
I don't want to go watch all of this classic Emmerdale to figure out Kane and Moira's story. I just want to
hmm
read about Moira because I don't know where she came from. And so
hmm
Moira was actually introduced to the show as like they introduced a new family. So they introduced
Mm.
Moira Barton, her husband at the
The
time,
Bartons. Yeah.
something. I don't remember her husband's name. Adam was introduced.
Adam Barton.
Her daughter at the time, Holly, who is now Maddie, who transitioned into a boy.
Oh, that's right.
And then, no, not Holly, Hannah. And then Holly was her daughter who died of an overdose later. And so it's interesting, like, reading about her because, like, she has, like, it's just a messy,
lot.
like, thing. Like, yeah, she had slept with James, and that, like, Adam was James's son, so he was only half sibling to the other two kids. And then Moira has an affair with Kane, and that's how they start. And it's
That's
so
right.
good.
Yeah.
And like I read about it and I was like, ooh, okay, I'm into this. And then like they end up getting together and they have some moments of like being like on and off again, but then they finally come back to like being being together. And what I love though is like I read this one thing where it's like she doesn't always like the like darker side of Kane, but like there was like something that happened where she asked Kane to like go and hurt somebody because they had hurt somebody like close to her. So she's like, Kane, go after him. And
Get
he was
him.
like, okay. And I just
I'm
love
on
it
it.
because it's like she's soft and good, but she has a watchdog that she can just like. So I love
and
it.
Kane
It's
is
so good.
Kane is controlled chaos, like when he needs it.
Oh,
Like it's really. But anyway, we'll get to Kane because he comes up at the end of this, where we're at now, basically. And yeah, Lauren loves him. So
even though he's arguably not that
so
hot.
to run back to Robron, because there's really not that much. Really, what's going on right now is the John storyline, which is coming to a. It's already came to a head. Really, we're dealing with the aftermath right now.
Fucking end. Finally.
Yeah, finally. So Robert shows up back at the village, out of prison, doesn't let anyone know, shows up at the wedding, and the scene that he shows up with is when Aaron and John are about to say I do, the door opens and it pans up from the ground, and it's the silhouette of the back shot's a crazy word to say there. Silhouette of Robert looking at Aaron, and he's like, hello, Aaron, miss me? And like it cuts to black. And so like that's how he shows up. And so then the next episode is Aaron literally losing his mind because he's like, well, you weren't supposed to be here. Why are you here? You said, like, I thought I was never going to see you again, blah, 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 blah. And Robert's like, he got out of prison. And then they go.
John's like fucking crazy, like daydream hallucination of Aaron and Robert like getting married.
Oh yeah,
like or Aaron,
which was
like,
just
walking
like
off with Robert, and I
which was just for like it was just
John
for like
such.
But it was just it was a pretty shoddy way of foretelling what was actually going to happen, which we know is we knew like everyone knew it was going to happen. Like this is like such a nugget of goodness that like soap fans love Robron. Like it's one of the biggest pulls of Emmerdale. So to have it back obviously is good. They're gonna have to build up to it in a proper way.
Such
but
good chemistry is the problem.
It is. Like, it is. It's really good chemistry. And even after all these years, like seeing them, it still works. That said, they go down to this bridge because Aaron like runs off. He can't say I do, and Robert goes over there, and they like have this heart to heart, and basically, Aaron, they kiss, and Chaz sees it. Chaz does see it, and then Chaz is like, "I'm gonna pretend I didn't see this." Aaron, you need to go marry that guy, because Chaz hates Robert. Chaz hates Robert.
Yeah.
And she always does this. Like when Robert comes on the picture, she hates Robert, and she'll eventually come around to Robert because they're both. She's also not a good person, really. Like she has that side to her. I mean, everyone in the village does, but she really has that side to her that like they have a lot more in common than she probably would like to admit. And then Robert is like sulking, and then like there's a whole scene with like Victoria, John, and Robert because they're the Sugdens. And then like they attack each other. Aaron breaks up the fight. Then he admits that they don't talk about the kiss, but then he says he's gonna go marry John. He goes and marries John. And then Robert gets arrested because someone reports that
he missed his probation.
Yeah, that's right. He missed his probation meeting to go to the wedding. And it because John supposedly reported him, which he probably did. John probably did because John's a psychopath.
No,
that is all.
Aaron, remember?
Oh, it was Aaron because Aaron wanted him gone because he couldn't deal with the fact that
Aaron told him, freshly married man told Robert that he couldn't, like, he basically was like, if you were around, we were gonna have sex, and I just needed the temptation gone. And it's
Yeah,
like,
pretty
Aaron,
much. Yep.
I think that maybe
Which,
you shouldn't have gotten married if you
yeah.
feel that way.
So then eventually Robert gets out of prison again and then comes back to the village and he moves in with Victoria, his sister, and she has a son named Harry. And so he starts struggling with PTSD. There's like, that's still an ongoing storyline, which I'm sure they're going to start sort of going into now, which I'm excited about.
Yes, I'm
I
so
think that'll be
excited.
good. I think it'll be really real and good for him.
And
Finally, like
I will say this about Ryan Hawley. He came back like a much stronger
yeah,
actor.
he
Like,
did.
oh
I
my
don't know where
God,
he
he's
went over the 6
so,
years. I haven't researched what he did, but he came back with
so
better. Like he
good.
is the thing about Emmerdale is like it is a soap opera, but I always tell people it's not like the American soap operas. Like the actors on Emmerdale, at the very least, like there are times when it's like clearly soap opera, but unlike the American ones, there are times when you're like, God damn, like this feels like something I'd watch it on ABC 9 p.m. prime time slot, like kind of shit.
Yeah. Like, I think that it's funny because, like, I think that Aaron and Robert, like, obviously it's a soap, so sometimes their acting is, like, not the best or their
hmm
writing's not the best. But,
It's
like,
really the writing more than anything, but yeah.
9 times out of 10, I would say that, like, Ryan and Danny are just knocking it out of the
Yeah.
park. They're
Which Danny is
so,
Aaron. I don't think we established that.
yes,
Danny is Aaron.
they're so good
hmm
about just, like, they just act
They
their
get on
asses
so
off.
well, like just
Yeah.
generally too.
They're
Of
like
like,
out of like off screen.
mm,
They're like good
they're
friends in real
such
life.
chummy, like they're so
So
chummy.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, to sort of hopefully hit a 2 hour point because they Alex will probably be able to cut like hopefully like a chunk of time out of this from us just
I'm sure.
dawdling. But they Robert comes back to the village. He moves in with Vic. Like he finally gets a job, and then like because everyone's like really like not wanting to hire him because they've heard about Robert or they know about Robert or whatever. And then he has a PTSD moment and he like hits Vic because she scares him when he's sleeping because he's used to like being woken up by violence. Um, and Vic's like, no, I understand. Like, we're gonna get you help. Like, I can see how this is a
Hmm.
thing that you're struggling with. Um, and then John gets Robert fired from his job. Um, and then Robert's like, you're gonna regret doing that. So like echoes of the old Robert are still there. Um, and then Aaron again is like like no, I'm married, blah blah blah, like because they get into it. And then he goes on a date, and he goes on a date and kisses somebody in front of Aaron to like make him jealous, and it doesn't work. Um, and then but Owen, his name's Owen, had spiked Robert's drink, and this is the point where I started telling my chat about it and the folks who would listen. But that's when like Robert gets drugged, and then John manages to save him, which is like serendipity. Like it's still not clear if John didn't orchestrate that, did he? Like he just happened to be there for once. Like that's the
Yeah, I
thing.
think
The
he just
problem
happened
with
to be there.
John is on occasion he just does happen to be in these situations, and I think the thing is, and what the show's trying to tell us is he likes that high. Like he likes the way that people treat him and the way he feels when he
Yeah.
saves somebody, but it doesn't happen enough for his liking, so he makes those situations happen,
Yeah.
which is
Like
a savior complex.
there's a moment in this, like, in 2025, like
hmm
that, like, John like saves somebody and then goes home and is like all chipper and like it's like, let's, and he and Aaron like have sex, and it's like, that's just weird that he just gets all like excited. I would say the biggest like things to know about John and like this storyline in 2025 up until this point is just that,
hmm
like, Aaron and Robert have kind of been circling each other. Aaron's been kind of pushing Robert away, largely to protect himself, largely to like just be like, we can't get into it, whatever.
hmm
Um, and Robert kind of read John immediately and is like, this guy's weird.
Yes.
He's not a good dude. Like he's bad
He's a
news.
bad person. Yeah.
And then John kind of tries to like manipulate Robert some and like all of these things, and it works in some ways.
But he
And
never fully gets his hooks into Robert. Robert's like one of the few
no,
people that he can't, even when he thinks he has Robert will say or do something to remind him that it's not working, basically, fully.
yeah.
Which
And
I really
so,
like that.
and
Robert is the
yeah,
one person in the village who he cannot manipulate fully.
and kind of Mac too, but
Mac too, but that's because Mac's love for Aaron is so like so real, and I feel like so their relationship's well written in the sense that like his friendship with
yeah,
Aaron is so real and what's the word? Like just
genuine.
genuine and like it just there's no ulterior motives. It's not like a soap opera relationship
Yeah.
in the sense of that. Like
Yeah.
he legitimately just likes Aaron and cares about him.
Yeah.
And so he also clocks John as being someone he doesn't quite like.
Yeah. And so John spends some time on a helpline, like on a chat line for
Therapy line.
like
Yeah.
mental health and stuff, and like he talks to people about all these things and like without actually talking about
Very
like,
ambiguous.
you
He's like,
know,
I did something
what he's been doing.
terrible. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And
He's dealing with the fact that he killed Nate. Basically, by the way,
Yeah.
the whole time this is going on, they're trying to figure out who killed Nate, and it's John.
Exactly. Yeah. And so there's a lot of stuff that happens, blah, 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 but it's starting to come to a head because in a little while ago, Mac, who is Aaron's best friend at this point, kind of discovers that John is behind probably Nate's death.
Yeah.
He doesn't know exactly how, but he finds some evidence for it, and he's just, John has just offered to drive him to London for like a bachelor party, and he's like, and so now he's trapped in the car with him, and John fucking
And like Mac
Robin
figures,
Hood
well,
over here.
hang on. Well, I think there's a little bit more context that might be important. Is the whole thing where this because Owen, that guy, died before all this, right? Right?
Yes, Owen
Yeah.
dies. He has an overdose, and
Right, so-
John like discovers him.
So he
No,
dies of an
he
overdose.
has an overdose. Like he legit has an overdose.
I know, but
and,
like, there's John gets involved, is why I say that.
and John shows up and basically decides not to save this guy.
Yeah, because he could have let him live. Narcan.
He probably could
is,
have. He
Narcan's
probably
easy.
could have like saved him, or at least attempted to. And then he decides to frame this guy for Nate's death. And the police just fucking buy it for
because
a
it's
minute,
soap opera
and then-
fucking police. They're awful.
and then they decide not to, and it's just kind of weird. And so yeah, so that's important to know. But Robert doesn't ever fully buy it, and at some point, when Mac discovers the evidence that John didn't, he's like, maybe Robert was right. And he actually tries to text Robert, which I love. I was like, oh, I'm excited for potential Mac and Robert friendship. I think it's going to be a good time.
I still think it can be relevant. I do think they'll end up being friends. I do think.
I think it'll be great. And so I think that, so then, like, John kind of figures out that Mac figured something out, and then he decides to chase him through the woods.
It's the fucking, he leaves like a fucking book in his truck that has the picture of the dude who had just been there, like claiming that he was involved with like basically it was the dude who provided an alibi for John, I think.
Oh no, he was basically saying, he said that I think Owen hired him to
dispose of something, right?
To dispose of something, which is like puts him at the time to like kill Nate.
And really it was John's army friend. And Matt gets in the truck while John runs back inside. John had left his scrapbook, and because it's a soap opera, and Mac opens it, and it's a picture of that dude and John in the army, and then Mac's like, aha.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly what transpires, but yeah, it leads to John realizing that Mac now knows that he's probably the one who killed Nate. And so he chases him through those woods in this like Twilight-esque hunt scene.
With a fucking bow and arrow.
Because apparently John hunts with a bow.
Which is fucking hilarious. And it's like not even like a Katniss type bow. It looks like a child's like bow. It's just so, it's not even like a hunting crossbow, because like I know people who hunt with like
yeah,
those
it's
types
not a
of
hunting crossbow.
crossbows.
It's
not even anything complex or anything. It's just a straight up bow and arrow. He looks insane. He ends up shooting Mac in
like
the
in
shoulder.
the shoulder. Yeah.
And then it shows him like he does a little bit of a villain monologue, and then it shows him with this rock, and like, and then it comes down, and then it cuts to black. And so then for a while we're like, okay, I guess Mac is dead. But then we find out that he's not, and John has not fully killed him yet, and he's keeping him in a fucking bunker.
He's tied up in a
underground.
bunker, which, and we even see a scene because John comes back to the village with the body in the back of his truck. There's blood trickling out, and there's a fly flying around, and so we're like, okay, Mac's clearly dead. But again, soap opera logic, unless you see them dead, like their body dead,
you see the body,
they are not dead. And anyway, so he ends up in this fuck ass bunker that we find
for too long.
Right, but we only find it, and it starts getting weird because they do the camera angles like from the ground, and I remember you being like, "Why do they keep doing that at the end of each episode?" And
I was like,
because while John's like tweaking out about the fact that he's a murderer, because he's at one point he's like, "I really am the villain," or something like that. Robert and Aaron end up hooking up because Robert has like a PTSD crash out, and Aaron's the only one who can very quickly,
yes. And then Aaron, in true Aaron style, it's like, we gotta leave the village.
Yeah, then Aaron's like, I'm gonna run away from my problems. And then John obviously is excited to run away from the village too, for obvious reasons. So then they're like, okay, we're gonna leave.
And the icon that Mac is like, running away from your like feelings because you love someone else is not going to solve your problems. And I'm just like,
which again, this happens before Mac gets chased around.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, he tells Aaron like, maybe you owe it to yourself to like, talk to like deal with Robert. And I'm just like, oh, he is the friend that Aaron needs.
And then his husband is the one that gets rid of him, basically.
Yeah. And then Mac gets like taken and is in the bunker for a while, and it's really upsetting because like for me, I was like, I don't want him to die, and it just dragged on for a while.
Yeah.
Aaron and John have some moments of like just like
non-chemistry. They also just have such a lack of chemistry anytime they're on stream together. And
in some ways, I think it's almost intentional.
Oh, it has to be.
At least on Danny's part.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they were instructed to like start, but like, yeah. But anyway, when John is like talking anonymously to a therapy line, that guy Patty we talked about is still in the show. He's the one who was like behind the feckin' therapy line, so he knows, and he eventually puts it together that this is John he's talking to. But because of HIPAA, he can't say anything. Whatever. It's a soap opera. Y'all break rules all the time. But he knows
he does break the rule.
He does end up breaking the rule.
And talk to Robert and Victoria about it.
Yeah, and then that causes Robert to go see, because he's like, oh God, he's with Aaron. Aaron's not safe. I need to go help Aaron. Aaron had been drugged in fairness. Like John had like drugged him because he was trying to like deal with the Mac while also keeping Aaron in the dark. Aaron starts to like catch on that. He's like, what the fuck? Why does my husband keep leaving every morning and like at these same times and yada yada yada. And he like, I think, he like doesn't he like he drugs him, but Aaron like isn't fully incapacitated, and then he follows him out there and like hears Mac, right? He like hears him talking to Mac, and anyway, then John's like, oh shit. So then John like takes him back, tries to drug him more. Aaron's like keying into that something's up with John. There's this whole the house they're vacationing at is actually John's childhood home, which he talks about something happening to his parents, and I'm like, I bet you killed them. Anyway, we're probably gonna find that out later. But like
Yeah.
they have a scene where this door's locked and Aaron's like, I want in this room. What's in this room when John's gone? And it's John's childhood room. And there's like a newspaper clipping where it's like, boy saves dog that almost drowned. And it's like, he's been the savior complex. Basically, that was them saying he's had this savior complex since he was a kid. And anyway, so John like drugs the hell out of Aaron. Aaron starts getting smart and like he would like wait until John leaves and spit it out. But then it got to the point where he's like making himself vomit it out. Like he had to like be very strategic about it. Because Aaron's not a stranger to this kind of stuff. And so then he ends up confronting John about it ultimately, and he does get John to confess to him that he has trapped Mac. He's falsified all these texts that have gone out from Mac. He uses AI to recreate Mac's voice. John does, and like
It's so
tell
bad.
basically divorce the wife, like basically trying to make it sound like Mac's never coming back. And then Aaron finds Mac's phone and John's stuff, and is like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah. And then
I'm just trying to recall.
yeah, and then so then it like it basically culminates up in this to basically where we are today, where like so essentially like you said, Braden, like Robert finds out that John has been talking on the helpline. He said some pretty worrying things to Patty. So he goes up to this cottage where John and Aaron are staying. John and Aaron are like John gets into it with Robert and kind of knocks Robert out. And then he finds out that Aaron has like come into the woods and is like looking for Mac. And so he goes and he finds Aaron, and they're kind of on the edge of this like cliff area, this gorge. And that's when John confesses to Aaron. And Aaron, I love this moment because John's trying to like gaslight Aaron a little bit, and he's like, "You're not thinking straight. Like you had your head's all messed up from your like accident yesterday or whatever." And Aaron says like, "No, I'm thinking straight for the first time in a long time." And I really like that because it kind of alludes to what I hope we get more of in the future, of just Aaron kind of acknowledging that he didn't see the signs with John. And he maybe has been kind of putting the blinders on in some ways, like to protect
because
himself.
he doesn't want to
and
deal
like
with the trauma that and all that shit with Robert, basically.
exactly. So I think like there's a lot there to unpack. So I'm excited about that. But like, so then they kind of like he confesses. Aaron's trying to get him to like turn himself in and all.
And
of
he
these
agrees.
things.
He's like, "Yeah,
And
I'll go do that."
Yeah. I don't know if
I
John
don't think
actually was gonna
I
do
don't
it
think he
though.
was gonna
And
do
so
it.
then Robert wakes up and comes running and finds them, and they have this good moment of nonverbal communication that kind of works but kind of doesn't at the same
It kind of
time.
backfires,
And
yeah.
and then
Because it's showing that
they
like they
bas-
still understand each other, but not like not intrinsically.
they don't
So.
fully understand each other because they've still like what I love about this new Robron is that they clearly still know each other at their core, but they also don't know who they are at this moment in
Because
time
Robert's changed.
because they've lived through
Yeah.
6 years apart of different stuff, of different things. So like there's just so much there, and I'm so
I
excited
think
to see
they're
what
trying
happens.
to, frankly, I think they're trying to establish them as a couple akin to like Moira and Kane, where they're not going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
continually problematic. It's just going to be them reacting to things that happen in the village. That's what I really hope for
Yeah.
them.
I hope that they just become an established couple and they're steady,
I think they
and
will.
like
I think
and
they'll
the
do that.
drama around them is not about their relationship.
It's about
That's
other
what I
shit.
want.
Yeah.
That's what I want. After they get back together.
But
But then there's this
before we
big,
get
like,
there,
yeah, but then it kind of culminates in John kind of he's like, if I can't have you, no one can, and
type shit. Yeah.
he grabs Aaron and pulls him over the edge of the cliff, and they fall down. And then Robert races down and like
Well,
calls the
Ryan Hawley
ambulance. And
improvs his reaction. They didn't
oh my
know
God,
that
I
was not
know.
written. The
I
way
was
that
like,
Robert
what?
reacts to
Because
that
I think they
scene.
were like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and then that was Ryan Hawley's actual reaction. It was really, really good. Again, speaking to his, I think his
yeah.
skill that's grown as an actor.
Yeah. he was so sad, and I loved him so much. He
Yeah.
was just like he was freaking out. He was saying I
Oh,
love you
John
any chance he
also,
could.
by the way, John also called
John,
911 and framed Robert and made it sound like
yeah.
Robert was the one who assaulted them. And Robert's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then he grabs Aaron and jumps off the cliff. And he's like, "Ah!" He like, does this really heart-wrenching scream. But
Yeah.
anyway, the gorge is clearly not big
Very
enough for them to die unless they just fell right on top of their head.
Yeah.
It's enough to fuck them up. But anyway, so Robert's
Yeah.
down there. John and Aaron go to the hospital. They're both alive. Robert gets questioned. Everyone hates him. Everyone thinks he did it. Even Victoria, to
He
a
gets
degree,
sent
thinks
to
he did it.
jail.
He goes back to jail. He's like, I didn't do this. You got to believe me. I would never hurt Aaron. John, yes, but I'd never hurt Aaron like this.
Mac is still in the fucking
Mac's
bunker.
still in the bunker. Mac's still chained up in the bunker, just like, well, fuck
I'm
me.
sending
And John,
Braden every day Snapchats of just, if Mac dies, I'm going to riot.
Wait, we literally on Emmerdale days when there's a bunch of Robron stuff, we probably send Snapchats the length of 30 minutes to each other, like just us talking, like
It's
cumulatively.
insane.
It's great, but Mac is just in this fucking bunker, and then like fucking John left him a syringe and is like, use this to kill yourself. Like, frankly, is what he does, and like there are a bunch of times when Mac's like, I can't take this anymore. Like I'm gonna do it, and then he doesn't. But they don't
No, he
ever let you.
does.
Well, then he does, but then
He does at the end.
yeah,
But then he doesn't die.
because
John saves him.
because again, John saves him again. This time by accident, but also because he did it. You know what? Like he gave anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing is they end up at the hospital. Robert's there. Everyone's like, "Fuck you," basically. Robert goes to prison, and then John wakes up first because, of course, he does.
Yeah.
And then
Which I had a feeling that was coming.
yeah, we knew it was coming. But then he's like,
Aaron, you can't wake up. Like I can't let you wake up. And he like tries to kill Aaron low key, or at least cause him like brain damage.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, it's important to note
It
that
doesn't
John's
work.
ex-fiance is still in a coma. They haven't addressed that yet. I'm sure they will at some point, but it's because of something John did, I'm pretty sure. And then Aaron,
Yeah, it's a pattern.
yeah, Aaron does wake up. He's fine. No amnesia, which thank God. We were all worried that Aaron wouldn't remember anything. The first thing Aaron asked about
Immediately.
is Mac. He's like, "Where's Mac? Mac is not safe. Mac." And his
Yeah,
mom,
he says John's got Mackenzie, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
and Chas might be dumb in a lot of ways, but the one thing she doesn't fuck around with is Aaron. Like when Aaron says something, she believes it. Like she's gonna listen to him. And so she's like, "What?" And so then she gets other people involved immediately. They're like, John, like Aaron saying John has Mackenzie. Where's John? They go to find John immediately. They're like, okay, we're going to go ask John. John's checked himself out of the hospital. And then he has
skipped down.
he inadvertently manipulated Kane into giving him a ride to go do something, which was to deal with Mac. And then we are all like, he's going to go kill Mac. That's what he's going to go do. But at this point, then I was like, well, maybe it doesn't make sense because Aaron knows what he did. So, like, that's not going to, and Robert's still alive. Robert knows what he did. That's 2 against 1 already. So there's no point in killing Mac.
I do kind of think that John thinks that Aaron is dead, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, because he unplugged his oxygen, but he didn't die, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
True. But, no, he knows not because because the last scene that we've seen so recently when he was hiding behind that pole that he did not fit behind.
Fucking pole.
But Mac shows up at the hospital. John brings him, doesn't identify himself, doesn't say anything. Somehow no one there notices it's the dude who was just in the hospital hours earlier. I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
To me, I just think that
Whatever.
Like,
it's soap opera.
Well, it's a soap opera, but also I've worked in a hospital and like rarely is it the same nurses like on
that's
schedule
fair.
at the same time all the time.
They just
so,
don't
like,
make it look like a huge hospital. So like that's anyway.
Yeah. I get it.
But John brings him back and like but everyone basically is like, holy shit, like Aaron said that. Chaz's corroborating it. It corroborates Robert's story that everyone called him a liar about. So now everyone's like, oh shit, John is a bad guy. Whereas John drops Mac off, doesn't identify himself, and disappears. And no one knows where he is.
And everyone now is like on team. We got to find John. John's responsible for all this. Thank God, finally.
Yeah.
And they get Robert out of prison. Also, thank God. Aaron's kind of like right now, like I don't want anything to do with you, which I'm like, okay, we'll get there. Understandable reaction, but also you're kind of
I
guilty of
think
this
he's
too.
just lashing out. He's
Yeah.
lashing out. He's pushing Robert
Well, that's why
away.
Robert doesn't really say anything. I think
He's
Robert
also
was sort of
not
expecting that.
ready.
Yeah.
He's not ready, and I understand that from
Yeah.
Aaron's
Oh
perspective.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
But I feel for Robert, and I also think
because
Robert
Robert
is
was just trying
kind
to
of
be
like,
there. Robert was
and
just
I
trying to
think
be there for
Robert,
him.
and I think Robert too is just kind of at a point where he's like, all right, I've
Whatever.
tried.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just
Like you're gonna have to come around. It's kind of like the thing where like
yeah.
Aaron. It's kind of like that where they finally get together after Aaron dated Alex. It's gonna be like that where Aaron's gonna have to. Yeah. Anyway.
I want them to kind of have it out though. 'Cause
Yeah. I think they should. I think they need
I think
to.
that they both deserve to yell at each other, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like
I
I
think
think that
so.
Aaron needs to be like, you like really get it into Robert's head. Like, I understand
Ruined
that
my
like
life.
what you were doing
Yeah.
was like you were trying to help me, but it fucked me up so bad. And then
Yeah.
I need Robert to be like, I am not the person I was before I went to prison, and I
Mhm.
regret that every day,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was right about Johnny. You didn't listen to me, and
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
that kind of thing, so
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, I don't think there's any other major details that we missed in terms of like the reveal. The only
no, I don't
scene
think
that
so.
it's a spoiler. I'm assuming that's like we're referring to the spoiler clip of them
The one
talking,
with Robert and
which I assume will
Victoria.
be Monday.
It was so cute.
That where was that at the end of the last episode? That
No, I
they
think it's a Monday
a Monday
spoiler
clip.
clip.
It's
Yeah.
it probably starts the episode if I'm being honest. That doesn't
Yeah,
seem
it's
like an
probably
end of
gonna be
episode moment.
early in the
But
episode.
because it's
Yeah.
not very anyway, Robert and Victoria, his sister, is sitting there talking, and Robert's basically just like they're both talking about the fact that John's a murderer, like their brother's a murderer, and they're like, "How are we gonna deal with this? Like, what do we do?" And Vic's like, "I can't believe it. I loved him. Like, I supported him. I helped people like acclimated to the village. Like, this is all my fault. Blah 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 blah." And then John is like looking like crazy, like he's about to go in there and kill them. And then he hears what they're saying, and obviously he doesn't like Robert because Robert just upended his whole life and revealed his helped him revealing his lies. But Victoria has always been nice to John, like literally has always been nice to John, and like he sees Robert and Victoria hug, I think, and like
Mhm.
then it cuts to him like filling a syringe, like
Yeah, it's
he's
what is
gonna
he doing?
he's gonna do
How?
something really stupid is what he's gonna do, and then probably go to prison is what I'm guessing.
I just think it's funny that like the last episode ended with him behind that fucking pole.
He's hiding behind a pole, and I shit you not, you guys, for those of you watching, the pole is like it's like this. It's like
not even the size of a telephone pole. Like,
no,
it's
and like his
it's
whole
like
body is
this-
visible, and he's like poking out around it. It's the goofiest shit I've ever seen. But that just speaks to his lack of tact. He's not very tactful. Like he doesn't think things
No.
through to the degree that Robert would. Like if Robert were doing this, it would be a lot harder to figure out who done it. Like it would.
Yeah.
Old Robert. I don't think new Robert would
Yeah.
pull it off. New Robert seems to be ready to enter a more domestic approach to things in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which I really hope we just see more of Robert on the farm. I just want to see domestic
Yes.
Robert. I want to see him healing.
Farming Robert.
I want to see Aaron dealing with whatever he's got to deal with, and then recognizing that Robert might have echoes of his past self, but he is not the same Robert. That's what I need.
I've seen so many. I read this fic a little while ago. This little ficlet on Tumblr, and it was really cute about like after the reveal and everything, and like Aaron and Robert aren't really like they're not dating yet or anything, but like Aaron can tell that like Robert is like doing better and like all these things, and like he likes seeing like when he sees him in his like farm overalls for the first time, he's like, "Whoo," and I just love it because like somebody else, I saw another post today that was like all Aaron needs is to see Robert in his farm overalls feeding some baby lambs and he'll be all good. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I really hope that's the angle they take. I hope we just get to see some, like, obviously there's going to be some drama but I hope it's, again, not about their relationship.
Yeah.
They might be a little bit at first, but like
I
think they're moving towards.
once they get, like once they get back together, I just want them to have smooth sailing in terms of their relationship, but I want the drama to exist around them. And
Yeah.
maybe sometimes that causes little dramas in their relationship, but I don't want them to break up and get back to. I just want them to
Right.
be together, and I
Yeah.
want them to be stable.
I think that's what they're gonna do, because I think they realize Robron's such a pull. It's up their viewership like crazy. People are
Oh my
really excited
God.
about it. People are, ready for their storyline to take off. Yeah, I think they're
Like,
gonna. I
it
think that's
took
the
a
angle to
month.
go. Yeah, it took
It
a
took a
month for them to
month
figure
for
out
them.
what happened to
Well,
Mac.
well, what I was gonna say is I was gonna say it took them a month of being back, and they were already nominated for like best soap couple.
Yeah, exactly. So
You wish your couple could do
yeah,
that. Like,
but it's worth seeing, and the new storyline is good. It feels more like something out of like Shameless. It feels more like, as much as it's soap opera writing, there's a lot of moments that are really good between them, and I'm excited to see what we get between them, because I think they're both even better actors than they used to be.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I also like this like pushing 40 Ryan Hawley. He just looks good.
He looks
He's
good.
just aged
Well,
like
here's the thing.
fine wine.
Here's the
Oh my
thing.
God.
Men tend to hit a second puberty around their mid 30s.
Yeah,
And like
and
that's
he's
when he
hitting
left the
it, and
show. So,
oh,
yeah.
he looks so good. He's a little more like muscular too. And so he just like, oh man,
And he actually
he's
has
got a little
facial
bit of
hair. He has like
little bit of wrinkles, and I
Mhm.
wasn't sure about the facial hair at first, but like cuz he's blonde, so the peach fuzz sometimes doesn't always work, but like it works for him, and
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah, it does. Because he
yeah,
keeps
he
it like
just looks
around the
really
goatee
good.
area. It looks really good.
Yeah, he just looks really good. Like
And
really
Aaron
good,
looks
guys.
good too. Aaron does look
Yeah,
good.
he does look good.
He looks like he looks more like a dad now.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Really.
he's kind of in his dad bod era,
Mhm.
but at the same time, he also looks really jacked, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like
Yeah.
he's like kind of that more like bear jackedness in some ways.
Yeah.
Like he was leaner in like 2014, and then I think he did gain some weight and then lose some weight in like sometime in 2016, 2017,
Yeah.
and like and stuff. And it's kind of funny because like when I saw him again in 2018, part of me was like, oh, he's just like still a little chubby. But then, and like, there's nothing wrong being chubby. Like, let's be real, I'm a little chubby. But it was so funny because when there was this moment in the wedding episodes where he's wearing his suit jacket and he's walking around, and I was like, nope, he's not just. It's not chubby. He's jacked, but like kind of more like a bodybuilder, and that he's got like some fat around it, but it's just like
Yeah.
his arms look like they're like muscular. Like he looks
Yeah.
like he could beat somebody, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm down for that too.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
both like look good in their own ways.
More what they say in my community is they're ready for old man Yowie, which I do think we're going to enter the era of. If that sounds
Welcome
interesting to any of
back.
you listeners, that's effectively what this is turning into, is old man Yowie.
I do,
But it's
believe
not
that I
doomed.
sent-
It's not doomed anymore. This is not doomed old
No.
man Yowie.
And I do believe that I sent Braden a Snapchat around like back when they had just come back, and I believe I sent him a Snapchat of it and said, "Welcome back, old man toxic Yowie," or something like that.
Which it might be a little toxic, but that's just soap
It's
opera.
very toxic,
It's just soap
but I
opera.
love it. It's so good.
It is good. But honestly, we have been. This is 2.5 hours of Robron. So let's try to wrap it up a little bit. So closing thoughts. It's a long story. If you have any interest, there's a bajillion ways to watch the show. Right now, they're releasing the show most weekdays. You'll find it on the Emmerdale YouTube channel. You can go through it and watch it. Like we said, we tend to skip the parts that aren't really heavily influenced by like Robron or the circle around them, which is pretty broad.
Yeah.
But like there are storylines that literally Robert and Aaron never engage with, like hardly ever. and that group of people just don't engage with. So like you can, if you aren't interested, you can skip those. There's also, if you want to go back through, there's it's the Aaron Dingle channel. Like it's like AARON space DINGLE Aaron Dingle. That channel, you can go find playlists up all the way back to 2014 when they first started, and it's just the clips of them.
Yeah, that's what you would probably want to go through, I would say, because it's just easier to find the clips. And they have a playlist for 2025, so you can
Every
go
year,
through and watch the clips.
Yeah, you can watch it.
So
but just be aware,
it's nice.
It's a bit of a time investment. It is. It's a little hefty.
But at the same time, because they're only like 2 or 3 minutes clips, you can just watch a bunch really quick.
Yeah,
And then
that's true.
Next thing you know, it's 2 a.m.
It's true. Or even later. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd say that if you guys like tragic gays and just drama, which who doesn't? It's fun. It's a soap opera. Like, don't get your expectations up. It's not going to be like Emmy award-winning writing, but it is going to be good. Like, it's going to be fun. It's like, I mean, you could just see us reminiscing over the storylines and remembering random plot points. Like, it's good. It's entertaining. Sometimes it drags out, but if you're just watching the clips, it doesn't feel as dragged out. We were talking about this recently because you can watch, like, you're not waiting a whole month. It's a series of watching 5 minutes of clips, and then suddenly that plot line is resolved. So, like, which they've gotten a little bit better about, but man, this John one, they dragged this shit on big time.
I know. But it's like, I was thinking about it in terms of like the Who Shot Robert storyline the other day. Cause like that storyline, like I said, it starts in like early September and doesn't really end until like November.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't even wake up from his coma until late October. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if I was watching that live, like week to week, I would have been like, what the fuck? But because you can just watch the clips, it's really like 45 minutes worth of clips. Like, it's not too bad.
If you don't feel like watching it day to day, what you could do is just binge it on that Aaron Dingle channel, because they do go through and clip it. So you could just watch it at the end of the week and like get the whole week at first. But just be warned, once you catch up, you're probably going to want to watch it as it comes out. And you probably will be infuriated. Lauren and I sent many a message to each other during our work days and been like, damn it. What I wanted to say was, one, when I am done reading it, I want to do a podcast episode on your book. Additionally, what I think would be also interesting is, when you talk about fan fiction. Fan fiction's a big deal in my community. A lot of people write it. They make their own OCs. You know, it's Call of Duty focused, but there's a lot of like Red Dead Redemption and like, you know, someone was talking about The Pit the other day, and like just stuff like which, exactly. Supernatural comes up, like, and I was like, Supernatural.
Supernatural.
But which,
if you like Supernatural, you'll like my book.
That's so one of my friends, Ash, one of the Pookies, she loves Supernatural, or used to, might still, I don't know. So anyway, but yes, well, let's go ahead. We'll segue into that. I do have another point, but for your book, guys, it's, well, I hope this is flipped in the camera, but it's Through Smoke and Shadows by Alyse Amidon. Beyond a Shadow, book 1. A long hidden force stirs in the heart of Utah desert, and a killer sets out on a path to power and vengeance, leaving a trail of bodies in their wake. I would love to do like I guess more like an author interview at that point, once I read it, which I did. I read, I think, the first 2 chapters, because I sat down to actually read it the other night. First time reading a book in a long time. That's embarrassing as an English major to admit, but it's true. But after I read it, I would love to do an episode, and I would love if people in the community, they can also, maybe if they read it, they can ask questions, or just generally ask you questions as an author who's now been published. Additionally, I'm sure they'd love to ask fan fiction questions. So that was my other thing, is like,
that too.
We could also, now that we've done Robron, which I'm sure inevitably we'll have to do an update to this, but I would love to do an episode with you too, where we talk about like fan fiction writing, and also like we met in our English program with creative writing and stuff too, of like your writing process, what creativity means to us, like, you know, just stuff like that. And just beyond that, just other random shit. Whatever. In that episode, we can start with that goal, and we'll talk about random shit too. So
Yeah. I think that would be fun. I mean, I enjoy talking about that kind of stuff, so I'm always
yeah,
happy to talk about any and all of
yeah.
that in multiple things or
hmm
whatever.
hmm
Um,
I think people will probably want to hear more about Old Man Yowie after this.
yeah.
So, um, thanks you guys for watching, or listening, or however you consumed this piece of media. We'll have Lauren back soon to talk writing, fan fiction, creativity, gay, whatever.
Hey, shit. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Also in the future, once I finally read a book for the first time in 2 years, we will talk about Through the Smoke and Shadows, which you can get this. Lauren, where can they get this book?
You can buy it anywhere books are sold online. It's not in many
Ta-da.
bookstores that aren't in Salt Lake City. If you're in Salt Lake City, it is available at the King's English and the Under the Umbrella bookstore, both local bookstores.
Mhm.
But you can buy it online anywhere as both an ebook and a physical copy. So Barnes and Noble, bookshop.org, Amazon.
But
Yeah.
you don't get a signed copy like I have.
That's true.
Just sorry, I had to brag a little bit. Anyway, we will definitely revisit that. And yeah, if you guys are interested in a watch party, let us know. And if you have any questions after watching this about Robron, about me and Lauren, I guess, feel free to ask them. And maybe we'll answer them on the next time we all get together. So, all right. Thank you guys. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
La la la. I am Lord. This is my outro song because I don't have one yet. Yippee! Who the fuck is Braden?